Soto crossover. Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover.
It just crossed him over nastily. Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
All right, time for the crossover. It's powered by Bigelow Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com.
Hey, people can't hear us, so you got to talk loud.
That's true.
Great Scott.
It is.
I wonder if
StreamYard is down.
Yeah, I wonder if that company knows that they have every podcast and radio show in America on the hook right now. I wonder if they know that.
You think it's just a regular day at the office?
They come back?
Breaking news. Our audio is back. It doesn't sound great.
Okay.
But it is there.
Okay.
Oh, huh. People are 1 to 10, right,
really?
Matt?
Oh,
Yeah.
look at that.
It's
all a conspiracy.
Hey, know what's
It
important.
just happened to come on when Josh came into the studio.
Oh,
You
I
noticed
see.
that. A lot of
Dude,
people
that's
are
why
noticing
they call Josh Magic Fingers Odson.
That's what they
He's
call
got
me.
They
That's
do
right.
call him that.
Magic Fingers.
They call him that. Josh started the fire this morning at Crossroads,
I
too.
did. It was cold. I needed to warm up.
Yeah, we saw the, because it was snowing as the fire trucks and the ambulances were going that way. And I thought, okay, there's an accident. And then I saw the parking garage and the Target right there. Fire.
The Target, I think, is okay.
But like the empty parking garage.
There's like a space in between. There's like a bridge or a gap in between the parking garage and the Target.
So a homeless guy got cold and he started a fire.
100%.
Hey, good for him.
Hey,
Dude.
good for him. Ruining property.
Good for him.
Is it really property, though? That's been
Yeah.
vacant for 12 years?
Yeah.
Don't worry. They'll
Probably
build
his
something
home.
there. They'll build something there.
Can we talk about that intersection real quick? Because it's quite a fascinating intersection. A lot has happened at that intersection. And the one thing that remains constant is not only the Target, which is a popular Target, but also the message board there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But,
I don't think it's on, though.
But if you brought a stranger
They cut
into
the
Omaha
power.
and you drove him to 72nd and Dodge and you pointed across the street from Target and said, "What do you think that building is?" How many people do you think would say, "Oh, that's the new public
They'd
library"?
be like,
You
"Oh,
should have brought me over there and asked me that. That would have been a perfect. I would have been a perfect
That's
guinea
true.
pig for that.
Yeah. Be like, oh, it's a new arena, another
Yeah.
concert venue.
Okay, so from the outside,
Yeah.
it does look like an arena.
Maybe an art museum.
Yeah.
Can I say a really bad
The public
take?
library is going to be at
Yes.
72nd and Dodge. That's wild.
Why is CHI Health Center so big?
What do you mean?
It is massive. I mean, that's a basketball stadium.
Well, it has a
This is a
convention
big
center next to
town,
it.
Matt. Welcome to Omaha.
Why is? I mean, it is overly
What-
it is really
have you
big.
not
What
been to
market size are we?
Pinnacle Bank Arena?
74,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, that's right. That's
Matt,
really good.
I don't know if you've been following the news.
I
There's a
haven't.
lot of issues with the healthcare industry and how much money they're making.
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
Don't talk about the healthcare industry
Um,
because then we're going to
CHI
start
are
talking
beautiful
about.
people. Love those people.
We're going to talk about Luigi.
it's me.
No, we need to talk about how they caught Luigi. So
No, we don't.
No, we don't. This
Yeah,
is
we do.
sports station.
no, we need
pivot.
to talk about him.
Pivot.
No,
pivot.
we need to talk about him because I think I would be if I was working at McDonald's. Anybody that on their own came in and ordered a McRib, I would be suspicious. Period. They may not have murdered somebody in cold blood, but I would have been like, okay, who are you?
Yeah.
If you just on your own just order a McRib.
A McRib's pretty good.
A McRib tastes like cardboard with onions.
I think that's a
pickles, and
little.
barbecue
I had
sauce
one
on top of it.
I had two on Friday, and you're both right.
I
He
think
loves
it's-
it, and it tastes
It's
like
like
crap.
White Castle. McRib is is McDonald's version of White Castle because White Castle is kitty litter, and it's awesome, and it's great, and it
We
tastes
don't have
awesome.
White Castles here in this large.
No,
city of
no,
Omaha.
you don't.
Well, why'd you get so excited? You just bashed White Castle
He just remembered that he moved to a state with White Castle.
I love White Castle.
because you're cheap.
Yeah, because I could get 3 triple cheeseburgers for like $6 and onion chips and a Coke.
Wow.
It
You
probably
have
tells you the
halitosis?
quality of what you're buying.
What? It
Tells you
doesn't
the
matter.
quality.
It fills me up. It's good. It's tasty.
You're
My
young.
farts are awful after,
Nice.
but it's good food.
He's got bad breath. You got good breath.
I brush my teeth 3 times a day.
Triple cheeseburgers and
Whoa.
onion strings. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be a little bit rough.
Mm.
But
Mm.
so the McDonald's where they apprehended this man in Altoona, PA. Did you see that people are going onto their Yelp and just destroying the McDonald's, like giving them 1 star because there's a snitch
Oh,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
they
was gonna
liked him.
say,
They
I-
liked Luigi.
Yeah, I
got
thought
you.
America was on Luigi's side.
Yeah, so
Really?
they're like this I can't believe McDonald's employs a snitch.
The
and so
internet
they're-
was on his side, I
Yeah.
guess.
The internet.
The internet is always on the wrong side.
He's like, yeah, who's this murderer?
Yeah.
We like him.
Yeah.
He had his reasons.
So, like after this
He
was
seems like a
announced,
sound guy.
announced where they caught this guy, for like 2 hours straight, Yelp was overloaded with 1-star reviews for this McDonald's.
Oh, man. You hate that.
But the guy, the employee at McDonald's, is probably going to make a lot of money, right? For turning
$10,000.
in. He recognized the person and
You
turned
get a
him in. And
reward
10
for that.
grand.
now he's been
It's
charged.
just
High profile murder of a CEO in New York City,
That's
and
all
the
you
10
get.
grand is the most you
yeah,
can come
that's
up
what
with?
it is. It's $10,000.
Would you take the reward?
Oh, I'd take it.
I would take it, but that does seem low.
It was
they
Crime
should do
Stoppers.
The
It was-
Crime Stoppers reward should be equivalent to the crime.
It
High
was-
profile crime, I'm going to need a medal.
Now I'll say this: it was $10,000 for anyone who has useful information. So
pretty
Could have been a
useful.
lot.
now, what is like? Is there a level? Is there like a platinum, gold, silver, bronze, like a reward level for Crime Stoppers? I don't know.
I think that there needs to be follow-ups when people turn in the tips and the information. Like, do these people get paid? Do they really get
I
$10,000?
totally agree, because you could say, oh, actually that wasn't that useful, and then you're back through stuff again, and you're like, oh, actually that did turn out to be useful. Do they call the guy back and they're like, hey, by the way, here's your reward?
Yeah, right.
Like I'd like an audit. Can we audit Crime Stoppers?
I mean, the burden's on you, the caller, to call back and be like, "Can I have my?"
Is the
reward money
burden on
back?"
me? Because I called you and I helped you out.
But that's the way the world works, right?
Capitalism.
So we give away $2,500 a week, and people were like, "Where's my $25? $2,500?"
That's true.
And we did. We followed through. We brought them here.
When did you do that?
That was part
Throughout
of
the
our
whole football
fall
season.
Really?
4-quarter pick'em.
Yep.
Wow.
Have you joined our bowl contest?
I don't get
16-20 zone?
emails.
We have that.
Yeah, they've been advertising it.
Excellent.
I don't get emails. No one sent me an email. I'm not on anybody's email list. Happer. So I'm Josh. I was here today, or here yesterday, and like I said, I was gonna go around and meet everybody. No one was home. I met like 4 people.
So now you know.
Yeah, just
So now you know.
I don't know. Are Mondays optional? Like,
I don't know. Just kind of depends on the context. You never know. You never know. You never know what's going on.
did our
around
boy
there.
Doug hang up? Oh no, Doug's still on. I thought Doug hung up.
So Doug, if I'm reading this right,
Can we bring Doug on again
Oh,
and
man.
just ask him?
old man Doug called nearly 3 hours ago because we're having our stream issue and said, I'd like to just sit here and listen. You could put me on hold, whatever you'd like to do. And I'd just like to sit here and listen. I wonder if he's still on, because it sounds like in the YouTube chat that we're cooking again. We're back.
Yeah.
So
Doug's awesome.
Would you like some good portal news? Possibly.
Go ahead.
So Greg Smith over at Rivals is reporting the main competitor for Nebraska in Keona Davis's Florida State. But the word is that the Huskers are not giving up on keeping him and continue to stay in communication about staying in Lincoln. He also has an update on Dane Key. The 4-star is planning a visit to Louisville early next week. This is the Kentucky wide receiver, where there continue to be rumors that Vince Morrow could join the Cardinals staff.
Oh.
He already publicly said no, but
So just bring in Vince Morrow.
well, when he left, when he was
I
on
remember.
Bo's staff and he went to Kentucky and he started recruiting all the Nebraska's
I
players.
remember.
So Keona, is it a money thing then? I mean, is that what we're just assuming? Or is I feel like if the kid was just like, I'm going off to Florida State, that'd be done and dusted by this point, right? Or is there, at some point we have to have this conversation. If Florida State is like, do we really want all of these guys? Like they in the building, Tony
sucked.
Well, there's a lot of D linemen. It'd be a lot. You'd be bringing in. I guess if you're just completely overhauling,
I wouldn't mind bringing in Nebraska's entire defensive line from last year. That was pretty good. They were
This is
pretty,
a lot of guys to bring in.
It is.
Lot, and from a completely different conference with a very different style of play. I know that the style of play of Tony's defense will be the same.
They got to win some games. They got to win some games down there. I don't know with Keona. You never really know.
No.
But I don't.
I think
I don't know.
we should rename this Hot Stove League. I mean, baseball and winter meetings are not like they used to be. let's just
Is Juan Soto a celebrity?
Hmm?
That's the discourse.
celebrity.
Yes.
Is that the discourse, or is that what you're bringing up?
No,
That sounds like a little. Doesn't that sound like
That was a
NL East?
massive
That
dig
sounds like
from
NL East
an Atlanta
fan
Braves
talking here
fan.
about the Mets.
Well, no, he's a great baseball player. The Mets obviously overpaid for him, but that's the market. But
Yes.
is he a transcendent
Everybody loves an underdog.
celebrity?
Go Mets.
Who in baseball would be? Is there anyone in baseball that is?
Probably Ohtani.
Ohtani.
Yeah, I don't know. You really didn't hear Soto
Aaron
talk much
Judge?
when he was with the Yankees. Like
Yeah.
Judge was a bigger deal than Soto.
Well, did you
In
see the
terms of-
video of him like celebrating in his hot tub? It's like it's almost as if he didn't choose to go to the Mets. He just told Boris, "Hey, whoever gives us the most money by 9 p.m. on Sunday is the team that we're going to sign
I
with."
wonder what that New York radio host who said that he was all mad because he walked and set up Judge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I wonder what that guy thinks.
We're
right
not
now.
paying you to walk.
Yeah, this guy's walking too much. I want the bat in his hands. We're paying $765 million. I want the bat in his hands.
Congratulations, you've never watched Juan Soto play baseball.
And then
before.
Soto
That's
goes,
just kind of his
then,
bit.
then Soto goes, "I'm walking here. I'm walking here." That was too easy.
The Pinstripe Bowl press conference is happening. Teleconference is happening right now. If anybody's
Oh, wow.
I'm reading some footnotes. Hashtag old friend alert. Eric Gilbert is in the portal.
yeah,
Mhm.
everybody was really obsessed with him.
Yeah, we
What has he
talked.
been
We
doing
talked
for a
about.
while?
We talked about our boy earlier.
What has
today.
he been doing since he left Lincoln and got in trouble in Georgia?
Doing his time.
No, we got trouble with it too.
Well, he went to Georgia and got in trouble.
He
Well,
did
that's
both.
what you do when
He
you go
did
to
both.
Georgia. You get in trouble,
He did both.
and nothing ever happens to you after you get in trouble.
Did we ever have a resolution of the charges and everything?
I think he
Learned his lesson,
maybe,
probably.
maybe paid a fine. Did some court mandated work.
So Mitch asked a really good question. Where is he transferring from? He never played at Nebraska.
He's got eligibility.
He's just of the portal.
Yeah.
I'm just in the portal.
Can regular students who aren't athletes enter the transfer portal, or do you have to have like an ID number or something like that
That's
to
a great
officially
question.
enter?
That's a great question.
Like, can Joe Schmo just be like, "Hey, I'm entering the transfer portal. Like, if anyone's interested,
Yeah, you go from Lincoln UNL to Southeast Community College.
I would be interested in seeing the paperwork that you have to file.
seriously, seriously.
Is there a from, like you're transferring from to TBD?
Or is Eric he's got eligibility and he can get recruited and put onto a roster?
Well, people know about him because of what he was.
So he
Right.
was released from Nebraska, so he's a free agent.
Yeah. So is he in the portal? Or is he just being like, "Hey, I want to
Yes,
play football again"?
Because I don't think,
Yeah, he's
I don't think Nebraska's compliance office puts him in the portal because
He's-
they released him from.
Sure.
He's putting the word out that he's back up.
So his agents are doing work.
Yeah,
He's back up.
he's exactly back up. That's what he's saying.
He is on the
He
show.
just sent the fax to the NCAA
It's like,
printer over there in the office and
We
just goes,
back.
"I'm back." And they go, "Who the hell is this guy?"
We back.
He's on the list, the very short list of guys that were super hyped that actually never played it down. in
There's a
Nebraska.
long list of those boys.
Yeah, I don't know. I never was like super duper excited about him given his past. Like there was like, oh well, if he works out, then that's awesome.
Th-
But
this
I
is-
never really thought
This is the exact conversation that we had at like 6:00 today. I go, because we were talking about how like you just twist the narrative, right? Like Ja'Cory Barney's awesome, but if Ja'Cory Barney were going to the portal tomorrow, there'd be people who'd be like, "Well, he's 5'10", he's 170. I don't know if he can really handle the physicality of the Big Ten year in and year out."
No. If you're anybody around the country, you would be excited about Ja'Cory Barney joining your team.
No, I'm-
right. And if you were Nebraska, you'd be upset about losing that
But
production.
but I'm saying you would downplay, like everyone would downplay it to the point where it's
wouldn't.
like,
I'd be like, what
well,
the
it's
hell?
like Jamari Butler enters the transfer portal. He had a good season this year, and yet there are people who are saying, "Well, he is a D end on a 6-6 football team. Like, are we really
But
that
then a
upset
linebacker
about it?"
from a 2-10 team is interested in Nebraska. You're like, this guy is.
Man, he's a 4-star. Like, he was
Um,
great in high school.
Oh, we have another old friend alert. Matt Lubick has come closer to Lincoln.
Hmm.
He is going to be the OC at KU.
KU. All right.
I just keep him refreshed. Next thing you know, there's going to be like Frost is going to go back to Central Florida.
Wait
Wait a minute.
a minute. Who's going to be on his staff? Probably not Matt Lubick.
I think they're. I'm.
Maybe Mark Whipple.
It seems like they are bringing back some of the I know that some of the even the lower like non-assistants are kind of
Oh yeah.
So let's play this
Talking
game
as
real
well.
quick.
like there's going to be a lot of the
play
same people.
Who is more likely not to be on his staff at Central Florida
So
that had coached with him at Nebraska?
all right. So
Troy Walters?
Troy Walters out.
Mickey Joseph?
Mickey Joseph out.
Bush,
Not necessarily.
he could be.
not-
I like Bush. Bill was great.
Ryan Held? Greg Austin?
Greg Austin definitely out. Mario Verduzco definitely out.
Sean Beckton will be in.
Sean Beckton probably in. Yeah.
Is Rude in? You think Barrett?
I think Barrett
Interesting
is
one.
done coaching.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think Barrett's living in Lincoln, likes what he's doing. I don't.
Shenander, Chins.
Oh, that's a great one. Cause it got bad at the end.
No.
Yeah, but he
They were-
got
they were
fired.
wine buddies.
Frost
But
got
they
fired
were- but
before Chins.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I got
Yeah,
that wrong.
they
Yeah,
were-
he got fired after Oklahoma.
were-
yeah,
yeah.
you're right. Yeah,
The day that Shenander got fired, him and Frost sat and drank wine.
on a
Couple bottles
hill
of wine.
with grapes.
No.
On a flat land.
I thought.
hold on,
Scott
why did I-
Frost imbibing. You don't say.
Why did I think that
but
Shenander got
Shenander
fired?
would go Boise State to back to Power 4.
But he's like a
What's he doing at Boise State?
he's
the
their
defense
like
coordinator.
defensive. No, he's like the defensive line coach / like assistant head coach. It's not full on
So
DC.
he's not the coordinator?
I don't think he's the full DC. I just looked this up yesterday.
That's a weird title.
yeah.
It's almost like Glenn Thomas being the co-offensive coordinator. Does he still keep that title?
He's
Do they
listed-
have is Satterfield the co-offensive coordinator?
He is. Eric Shenander is listed as the assistant head coach, defensive line, defensive run game coordinator. So I don't know who
I
their
He's got a
defensive-
good agent.
I got no comment.
I don't know who their defensive coordinator is, but it's not him by title. So I don't know. I don't know what happens.
They
with him.
probably do bring Chins.
Chins.
He's a good guy. I like Chins.
Everybody loves chins.
Who was the
Fisher? Did we say Travis Fisher?
Applewhite?
Yeah,
Major?
Brian.
Brian?
yeah. He was. What was he running?
He was running back
backs?
coach.
Yeah.
How
That was
about
like right before-
how
it was
about this?
funny.
Okay, now let's connect the dots. AJ Allen is in the portal. AJ Allen was recruited by the previous staff,
Sure.
Yeah.
but left under the rules staff.
Mickey Joseph.
No, not a chance. He's the head
Um,
coach at Grambling.
Okay, I'm not trying to stir the pot here.
Well, we're running out of guys that we got a longer
Would-
list of guys
like-
that there's
like-
no chance.
He hired Donnie. I mean, was Donnie a hire because he was friends with Scott, or was Donnie a hire because they needed to make a good offensive line hire?
Scott like 92.
Yeah.
He did.
There was not a bridge burn. There.
No. Now
was there-
you couldn't. I don't think you could obviously not convince Donnie to go, and I don't think Donnie's going to be the OC over at UCF. So
He's going to stay at Nebraska.
yeah, there's no doubt. We are running out of names. That's why I brought it up.
Who was their original? Who was their original defensive line coach?
Tuioti.
No, there was somebody before him.
Oh, that's
Big guy, big voice.
Mike Dawson.
Mike Dawson.
Yeah.
Dawson. He's been bouncing around the NFL. That could be a guy.
Yeah.
That could be a
You
guy.
think
Tuioti.
I don't know.
You know what? Hey, so he won't leave Oregon, but Tuioti and Frost apparently made up.
Keith Williams is a big internal guy at Nebraska? He was brought in by Scott, right? No, was he not?
Mike Riley.
Really? He's been here since Mike Riley.
Oh, are you talking about the wide receiver coach
No.
or off the field?
I'm talking off the field, current head recruiting guy, Keith Williams.
Yeah.
No.
No.
But Keith Williams will be looking for a job probably.
at wideouts.
Yeah,
at
will be
wideouts.
looking for a job because he's on the Saints staff that,
Okay,
they'll make a change in the offseason.
sure.
What
This
about?
is-
And I don't know.
This
I
is
don't-
before I
so-
started reporting on the team. So this
so,
is all. I sound like an idiot.
So Keith interviewed with Frost when he got here.
This is the Saints coach.
Yes.
Javon DeWitt is the defensive coordinator at Florida International at the moment.
That could possibly be. They had a good relationship.
Yep, everybody liked him. I think. What about Jared Lambrecht? Not an assistant coach, obviously, but a chief of staff.
That would be interesting.
That would be. They would be.
Yeah, I think they're.
They would be.
You'll probably see some of those
Be interesting.
operations guys who maybe went all their different ways end up back at UCF. They'll probably bring a lot of internal.
And then he'll go to Like, will there be a former Nebraska player who played under Scott Frost that goes down and works with him on the staff there?
That could be a possibility. I
wonder-
like that angle. Isn't Mackenzie Milton in coaching?
Mackenzie Milton is at, I believe, Tennessee at the moment. Yes.
I wonder if
he was
would-
mentioned in the press conference.
Yeah.
So it feels like that's going to happen. A UCF legend like he. Maybe Noah Vedral can go coach for him.
I think he's still playing somewhere.
Probably he's got some eligibility left. Yeah. Somewhere.
Probably none of the McCaffreys will coach there. And Cade Warner probably will not coach there.
Not any of the McCaffreys. No, not any
Adrian will not be his quarterback coach.
No.
I got in right at the end of Scott. Like I didn't really get the full bite of Scott Frost that all of you did.
That's okay.
Yeah, I think that was probably.
You did not get to live that experience.
I mean, I reported on the team. Like I went to more Mickey Joseph press conferences than I did Scott Frost press conferences.
Wow.
Mickey press conferences were fun. They got chippy. You
never knew what was going to happen.
No, they got weird toward the end. They got weird. Sometimes.
Remember when he committed a violation?
Yeah.
Because he was
He
asked.
goes, yeah, we got Malachi. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Like, because a guy in the back goes,
He's like,
I actually went to high school with the guy who asked him the question. He goes, yeah, you got Malachi. Like, how did that happen? You know, how do you feel about that? And Mickey goes, yeah, we got Malachi. and then then next week, Mickey comes back and the same reporter asks him the questions and he looked at him and he goes, you better be careful now because you got me in trouble last week. And the whole like room just started cackling.
Could that be a destination for him?
For Mickey?
No, for Malachi.
Oh. I like that.
I don't know.
That's an interesting thing because there are murmurs of schools that are looking at him on the other side of the ball to do what you have suggested.
He was so good at that in high school.
I've always believed he should be a defensive end. That guy, there are certain guys in college where they're really high production and they're really, really good, but they don't have the NFL body. He's got the NFL body. He has been blessed with the athleticism and height and strength of a top 10 pick. He would be a dominant defensive end. It's just whether or not he wants to do it.
He was really good at it in high school.
Didn't Wisconsin want him, or didn't his school recruit him on to be a defensive player?
In the early days of recruiting him, that was definitely an option for him, but he wanted to be a wide receiver.
But once Mickey was like, you're a wide receiver.
Maybe he goes to Grambling.
Troy Walters, Ryan Held, Mario Verduzco.
They went 5-7 this year. Then maybe
he'd be the guy right away. You never know.
So they developed a hell of a relationship. Like Mickey stayed on top of Malachi. He'd like game days. He would call him while he was working out, like on the treadmill before a Nebraska game.
Yeah,
just to wake Malachi up. That would actually, you know what? Him playing for Mickey at Grambling, you could maybe sell me on that.
He'd be the dude. He'd be the dude right away. And that whole offense.
Malachi may need to get away from where he doesn't know anybody and nobody knows him. There's no past history.
Yeah.
He can just go and start over in a place that's a long way away from Lincoln.
Just focus on football. Just be a football player.
That'd be good.
So Frost's first staff at Nebraska, we covered all these names, right? Shenander, Walters, Austin, Becton, Dawson, DeWitt, Fisher, Held, Rude, Verduzco. We covered all those names. I think there's probably only one or two who still have a relationship with Frost.
I haven't talked to T. Fish since he left.
Yeah.
It was a little rocky at the end for all of them.
Yep. Sean Becton feels like maybe a safe bet. What's Sean Becton been up to?
He is at UCF.
Oh, he went back.
Yeah, he's in the Hall of Fame.
He went back as an analyst. Yeah. So they'll probably just put him on this.
What's the time? So Scott wins the Peach Bowl. They call it the national championship, whatever. He went 11-0, but year one, he was 1-11, right? Or like
1-4. He picked up for George O'Leary's mess.
At UCF.
Yeah.
They were
what is like
they were 6-7. They went to a bowl game that year and lost it.
And this has nothing to do with Scott and just everything to do with what is the expectation for those new teams in the Big 12 who just moved there? Like, how quickly do they think they should be winning in that conference?
So you're-
Arizona State.
Yeah, so no,
Yeah,
I
so-
think you're talking about like Cincinnati, UCF.
Yeah, I'm
Houston.
talking about the guys who went from the American or
Group of
from like
Five to
Group
Power
of Five to Power Four now. Like, I wonder what those athletic departments are sitting there and thinking in terms of like, this is the timeline. This is how quickly we should
Okay.
be in conference championship games or in the mix.
So I mentioned immediately Arizona State in year 2.
Yeah,
What about BYU?
sure.
BYU went from Group of 5 to Power 4.
And they were ranked and they were in it until the very end. Right, but BYU is a little bit of a weird case though, because that is
That's a
they
big
were
program.
independent. They were independent, but BYU has had some hell of football players and football teams in the past.
Cincinnati was in the playoff.
Cincinnati was in the playoffs.
See, is that a Cincinnati thing or is that a Fickle thing?
I don't know. It's
Oh,
worked out
Fickle-
well for him in 2 years at Wisconsin.
Yeah, Fickle might suck.
Well, I was about to say, talk about guys going back. Like Fickle might be a guy where Cincinnati might have to take him back. I mean, that Van Dyke now. I mean, what are they going to do? I mean, it's 2 years now, 2 different transfer quarterbacks.
They're gonna have Sorsby again next year, though, over there at Cincinnati. Cincinnati. Or you were talking about Wisconsin?
I'm talking Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin's in trouble. I think
Well,
Fickle
yeah.
gives me Frost vibes.
So I'm looking at the Big 12 standings from this year. So UCF went 2-7 in the league. They went 4-8 overall. Houston went 3-6.
So that's-
Cincinnati went 3-6.
Yeah. So what? You got three of those teams who moved
Hey,
over,
Remember
who
when
are in the bottom of the league now?
Remember when Colorado played in Orlando and that was a hype game and that was
Yeah.
like, looked at as a big win for Colorado?
Well, that's what
And-
made people turn around. UCF, for whatever reason, because I was doing like this betting show where I would have to give out the lines for certain stuff. And like for 3 weeks in a row, UCF was like a double-digit favorite in a lot of their games. They were like a 14-point favorite against Colorado.
They had some problems at quarterback this year, and they had to
Yeah.
sit KJ Jefferson.
Is he in the
and to
portal
do
or?
I don't. He's got to be out.
Yeah, I
of
think he's out of
eligibility by
eligibility.
now.
Oh,
right?
is he? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't.
'Cause that would have been his 6th year.
Yeah, he's been around.
Who
a long
knows
time.
nowadays?
No.
I mean, Parker Fox is still playing basketball, for God's sakes.
Who's Parker Fox?
He's a forward
Minnesota?
over at Minnesota basketball.
okay.
Minnesota has like
Dawson
couple-
Garcia.
Yeah.
a couple of 5-year guys, a 6-year guy, and like an
8-year guy.
And
And
they
they
still
still
stink.
suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still terrible.
Nice.
And that job will probably open up, and it is not as good as people think it is.
Didn't it open up recently? Didn't they just?
Yeah,
Ben
they just hired Ben
Johnson's-
Johnson 2 years ago.
Yeah. Shoot.
I know a
you
few
play
people
in an
that won
older arena.
How many? It's gonna be funny to see how many like Penn State, Minnesota, like these kind of schools that now in the NIL era where they just don't have enough money to keep around their good players in basketball. Like how quickly or like how much turmoil they're gonna have to go through to like figure it out.
Well, they lost a lot of key guys off their roster from
Oh, yeah.
last year,
yeah,
and Dawson Garcia was offered $1 million and stayed.
dude's an idiot.
He's a local kid.
Go for the
He's the best
bag.
player.
Dawson Garcia is not playing in the NBA. Dawson Garcia isn't going to be making that
He's
money
playing it
anywhere
for
else.
the love of playing in his hometown, playing for the Golden Gophers.
Minneapolis is overrated.
I disagree.
Poll question up at Happer Show:
Whoa.
is Minneapolis overrated?
People are going to vote yes on that
It's fine. It's not
for reasons.
It's not in the same like it's
Yeah.
not in the same tier as Boston, New York.
No one has put
Chicago.
No, come in,
And then I would even
this
say
is
it's
a
not even
Chicago guy
it's not
talking.
even I wouldn't even say it's in the second tier. I'd pick 8 cities in Florida that are way better.
8. I will listen.
Naples.
Italy?
Naples.
yeah,
You know how
okay.
big Naples is?
Naples. The Keys. The Keys. Naples, Marco, Sarasota, Miami, Orlando.
We've now gone from little Naples,
Captiva.
Florida.
Captiva.
Oh, now we've even gone smaller to Captiva, which is an island which
Yeah.
very few people live on.
Yeah.
To being better
Isn't
than
it beautiful
Minneapolis.
though? Isn't Captiva beautiful?
Yes, it is.
Where would you rather go for vacation, Captiva or Minneapolis? There you go. Answer complete.
I love Minneapolis, the Mall of America.
It's overrated.
I love Minneapolis.
I lived
love
there.
the Twin Cities.
I was born in Chicago, and a week later, I was moved to Minneapolis, and I lived in Minneapolis
And you
until I went to
loved
kindergarten.
it. You grew up.
I
at
don't
the
remember
Mall of
anything.
America.
The only thing I remember
You're
from
a huge
Minneapolis
Twins
is that I
fan.
pooed in a pool in Minneapolis,
Dear God.
Okay.
in a public pool. I pooed.
Good on you, I guess.
Yeah.
All right.
The only thing I remember.
Still
I
bitter,
don't remember
you're
that.
Still bitter that the North Stars left, or what?
I actually went to a Minnesota North Stars hockey camp for like 4 years growing up. That was run by like former players, and it was like they're still bitter about it.
That was a rough moment.
They're like the Dallas. Mike Madonna would have been a great Minnesota Wild player.
But you know what?
Email from Jim. Minneapolis is a garbage can.
There you go. Thanks, Jim.
I think I know who that is.
I think people are going to agree with you on this.
He lives in Minnesota.
Listen,
now,
it's cold, it's windy, there's snow. The best thing about Minneapolis is that they got them all. And if you want to say, well, the fishing's great, you got to go 2 hours north to get to good fishing. Okay, the fishing isn't that good in Minneapolis. It's good in Brainerd, Minnesota, which is like a remote 2.5, 3 hour drive up there. In Minneapolis, it's just a lot of people that think they're big time, but they're small time.
Brandon writes in, Matt McMaster is correct. I live in Minnesota and go to the Twin Cities all the time. You are correct. Minneapolis is overrated.
It's so overrated.
And a hellhole.
Yeah, it's a bunch of big buildings. There's a bunch of traffic. It's expensive.
All right. It's a great city. We love Minneapolis.
It's a terrible town.
I think you actually said that.
You nailed that.
I think he has.
You nailed that.
Minnesota!
All right. Have a great afternoon, guys.
I'm going to go and work
Look at
out.
you just dropped the bomb on the crossover and you're leaving. You don't have to put it.
Just like you dropped a bomb in the pool. That one time.
Was it like a Super 8?
It was a beautiful poop. I gotta stop.
Crossover powered by
gonna hate
Ever Level Concrete.
The sales team's gonna be like, how can we sell this kid?
Thank you, Ever Level. Back after this.
It's the Connor Happer Show. It's the Connor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome in. Happy Tuesday. It's the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Josh Odson back. Curious to get Josh's thoughts on Scott Frost today. You might have missed Scott Frost Day yesterday.
I've got some takes.
He's got some things he's got to say.
Whenever you're ready.
Today in the show, we will not have Allan today, but I don't know. Maybe we could recheck on that.
I'll recheck.
We'll see, because there was an issue with a video podcast. The thing that people use to record their podcasts in a video way around the country was just down and not working this morning. We've all fallen victim to this. The morning show fell victim to this. I have a podcast that fell victim to this.
It's a very good podcast.
And so we're working out. So people who do podcasts and record shows are having a rough morning. Omaha's having a rough morning because it realized that snow happens and then they forget how to drive.
Mm-hmm.
2 cars in the middle of Dodge Street on the way from about 120th Street to about where UNO is. Just in the middle of the road.
Incredible.
Just sitting there. Just doing their thing. Traffic backed up.
Wouldn't have happened if I was mayor.
There you go. There's Josh's claim. Once again, vote for Josh for mayor. Josh is back, and we are back. Bigelow will join us at 1 o'clock. We'll talk about hoops with him. That's the lineup, powered by the referees at John Higgins Weather Guard. Want to hear from you all, 402-951-1620 on the 42 Degrees of Source hotline. Even if you want to just call and put your phone down and listen, you could do that on the 42 Degrees of Source hotline. You could also text that number. Tweet at Happer Show, at Connor Happer on the J Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed, at producer_Josh as well. Email ConnorJoshO at 1620thezone.com and the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. And yes, we say good morning to the YouTube streamers who miraculously all morning, even though there wasn't any sound on the YouTube stream, they were still there commenting. Great job by you guys.
It's a great little community. They, engaged in conversation with each other, even though we were not engaged in conversation with them.
ZoneTV.live, you can find that there, or on 1620 The Zone TV. You got an email from the Equitable Bank inbox already from John.
Hi, John.
I would like to congratulate Josh on once again leading the Reavers back to the national championship game. Way to go, Josh. You're not going to want to thank Josh next week.
Well, why is that?
Well, you tell him, Josh. You tell him.
Tell him what? That I won't be here next week?
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to win another ring?
Yeah, we're going to let Josh go out and spread his wings and try to bring home a national championship to the Bluffs.
Never gets old.
That's what they say. It never gets
You
old.
think it would get old and tiresome, but it doesn't.
Never gets old. By the way, I just saw a headline from the Journal Star. Creed set to play a Lincoln show in August. Creed has really capitalized off of the internet finding out that they enjoyed them. Creed was really good. I don't think I want to go to a Creed concert in 2024. That's just me.
Really?
I liked Creed. I liked the Creed songs.
You could still hear them. They would play them for you if you
Yeah,
gave
but
them
you know,
a little bit of money.
It would people go like as a bit. Isn't it a bit that people like Creed?
I imagine that some people are going to Creed to laugh at Scott Stapp and the boys.
I mean, they'll go to sing because they realize that it's the songs, you know, and they're good songs.
Oh my God, PBA, really?
Yeah, Pinnacle Bank Arena for Creed in August. So
feels like a big house for them. Okay,
I don't know what's going on. I think people like him. Like I liked Creed, but back in the time where Creed was actually making music, you were made fun of if you liked Creed.
Yeah.
If you like to walk around and sing One Last Breath off of the Weathered album, then you'd be made fun of.
What a
You're like, you like Creed? I'm rusted and weird. No, you can't say that. So now that Creed is back, and people found out that they did a very funny halftime performance on Thanksgiving in like 2003, and that has to come up on the internet every 10 seconds. People were like, "Hey, these guys are still pumping out music. Scott Stapp's still rocking it."
The Marlins Will Soar song is better.
Yes.
That should be the viral Creed song.
They should do that as the opener at Pinnacle Bank Arena in August. Let's play ball, it's game day.
Heard you like baseball here in Nebraska.
We got strikeouts, base hits, double plays.
We got a song about baseball. Who wants to hear it?
Come on, Marlins, make us proud.
You do a good Scott Stapp.
It's not hard. A lot of people do a good Scott Stapp. Poll question.
Sure.
Do a lot of people do a good Scott Stapp? Elsewhere, young Dylon is back. Dylon, he's back. Josh, give me a little.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Dylon.
Thank you. Dylon is back. What a world that we live in. The Dallas Cowboys, speaking of Scott Stapp, lost on a punt that they blocked. That was hilarious.
What are the odds?
And the Simpsons were all over it.
They were.
Visitors coming in from the transfer portal people going out. Mark Jones is calling a playoff game. Bet you didn't know that one. So we'll discuss that. I wonder if Josh has a take on Scott Frost returning to UCF. Is North Carolina actually going to hire Bill Belichick? It seems like kind of maybe.
Definitely has more legs to it than I thought it did.
And then I thought about the coaching carousel last night, and I found something sort of interesting. So we'll dive into that today. We'll talk about what the state of television in 2024. And of course, there is new news on the Caitlyn Clark thing. We got to get to the Caitlyn Clark thing today.
Today's the day.
There is news on Caitlyn Clark. So we'll definitely have time for the Caitlyn Clark thing today. Matt Rule doing his Pinstripe Bowl press conference saying that'll be a great start to next year. Even though it's still this year. So
did he say who will be playing in the game?
No confirmation on that, Josh.
Okay.
No confirmation on that. All right, we're off and running on a Tuesday. We're back after this on 1620 The Zone. Ollie Connolly has been covering the Bill Belichick to North Carolina saga.
Ollie Connolly.
Ollie Connolly.
It's too many L's.
It is a lot of L's. He's a writer for The Guardian. Is that a sports publication?
No, isn't it a British newspaper?
Okay. Well, maybe. It seems from his picture he could be British, I guess.
The Guardian is a British daily
I
newspaper.
guess anybody could be British.
Founded in 1821.
So he reported something that has been widely thought of throughout this entire courtship from North Carolina to Bill Belichick. He says, I'm told Bill Belichick's negotiations with North Carolina include a guarantee that Steve Belichick will be the school's head coach in waiting. UNC is open to that guarantee. Discussions are not a bid to gain leverage for NFL offers, and Bill Belichick is open to the move. Tom Brady was asked on the pregame chit-chat shows over the weekend, hey, could you see Bill Belichick coaching in college? And he goes, no. Nope. No, I couldn't. So there's some follow-ups today from Ollie Connolly, the man with many L's. Update. Belichick has agreed to become the UNC head coach. Belichick handed the school a 400-page organizational Bible with structure, payment plans, staffing choices, etc. Decisions on whether to commit with UNC. He is expected to know their decision in the next 24 hours. So it's in God's hands now. It's in a guy named Bubba's hands.
He's agreed to be their coach.
Yes, he will do it.
But they have not hired him.
He laid out a whole bunch of stipulations. Hey, my weirdo son has to be your next head coach after I retire, which could be any point in time.
So weird.
And they're like, sure. And then he's like, okay, I'll do it. And then UNC is like, let's just see about that. That's where we're at right now.
Also, you need to pump more money into this thing than you've ever pumped into it before.
Belichick's Bible would require historic levels of investment for the school, include salary minimums position by position, and a willingness to hire two staffs, a coaching staff run by Belichick, a recruitment staff run by a sitting college general manager who would require a buyout. Belichick has a college and pro version of his updated manual and has shared it with other schools and NFL teams, but he drafted a new one specific to North Carolina that touched on every aspect of the program and school. When he decided off from AD, chancellor, trustees, and boosters. There has already been pushback from the group of 13 trustees with input from wider faculty. The investment would overhaul the school's approach to football. Belichick unsure if the school will meet demands and is unwilling to negotiate. Honestly, not like a horrible idea, right? I mean, we look around, and we're going to talk a lot about the portal today. You look around college football, and I mean, you desperately need the school that you're coaching at, especially if you're a Power 4 school like North Carolina, to be all in. And that's like, it's a weird place to be, right? Because you're telling the university that you work for, hey, look, I can't compete. I can't do my job. You might as well not even hire me unless you're all in and you're willing to do it my way. It kind of creates a certain amount of leverage for head coaches. And especially it creates a whole bunch of leverage for a guy named Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Who can kind of call his shots on this one. But like whichever way they, if they were hiring, some up and coming MAC coach or Sunbelt coach or something like that, that guy's going to come in. He doesn't have the leverage to say, look, you need to invest harder than you've ever invested before. But it still needs to happen, right? Otherwise, that guy probably won't have very much success. And there has been plenty of conversation about North Carolina's, lack of commitment to the sport leading up to this point. And this would certainly change and overhaul some things if they're able to do that. I read this story from The Athletic last night. It was Brennan Marks and Ralph Russo. They tag team this thing, and it kind of just detailed all of the factors at play with the Belichick North Carolina thing. And it's pretty fascinating. It's pretty fascinating.
He talked about it on the Manning cast. I think it was the Manning cast last night. No, it was McAfee. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Which you can watch on Disney Plus now, by the way, which is fascinating.
Very, very cool.
If I'm going to come to you, you're going to run this thing like like a business, like an organization, like an NFL team, or I'm not coming there, which is really weird because I don't.
And it is an NFL, like it's kind of an NFL team right now. Once again, look around college football. Wouldn't it serve everybody kind of well if they had a quote unquote recruiting staff, a front office, if you will, and then funnel those players in and allow the coaches to coach?
If you felt those changes would work and, you could flourish in that type of thing, now's the time to make that change, because the game's changing left and right. You're going to have not a staff, but you're paying all the players.
Yep.
They're a staff.
And you gotta, and there's no limit to the amount that you may have to invest. You're saying, write me a blank check, but I'm Bill Belichick. Write me a blank check.
I win. Unless I don't have a good quarterback, then I don't win.
Happer's meme guy writes in.
Happer's meme guy.
I always hate when guys make decisions about where they're going to college based on where their high school girlfriend is going to college. Tough predicament for Bill Belichick.
I just can't do long distance. I got to go with her.
Man, that seems to be part of the equation for Bill.
I just love the framework of, all right, I'll do it, but this is how I'm going to do it.
Yep.
I await your decision.
And then I thought about, usually around this time of year, the portal's not open, as many coaches have lamented today. But the coaching carousel is open. The portal for coaches is open. And that's still the case. There's assistants moving around everywhere. Coordinators are being fired at an astounding rate.
Yes.
And that has taken the place of head coaches being removed. Did you know that there are only 4 this cycle right now? There's still some time, obviously. Looking at you, Ryan Day. But there's only 4 Power 4 jobs that came open so far.
Until I made this graphic this morning, I did not know.
There's only 4 Power 4 jobs that came open this cycle: North Carolina, West Virginia, Purdue, and UCF. UCF has hired their guy. UNC seems like they had a search and then decided they couldn't do any better than Bill Belichick, and now Bill Belichick is running the entire university. Seems like West Virginia is going to hire Rich Rod back, folks, and Purdue hired Barry Odom. Those are 4 Power 4 jobs that nobody really covets.
Mm-hmm.
They're not great jobs.
That's right.
And nobody else got fired this year. And nobody else left. Cooler heads prevailed at Oklahoma State with Gundy.
The standoff is over.
Sam Pittman got retained at Arkansas, even though he's losing all of his team to the transfer portal and probably Ole Miss at this point. Billy Napier. Dave Aranda got retained at Baylor. Like there could have been a world where there was a few jobs out there that were mildly attractive, but right now, if you're trying to get into the Power 4 coaching game, you're pretty much SOL.
Is this we got a $20 million item line in our budget? We can't pay a buyout right now.
I think that's obviously a factor.
Yeah.
And what they did instead was, okay, cool. We can't fire you. We're not going to fire you. You have to fire your coordinators.
Fire your friends.
That happened a lot. So we can continue on that. I wonder if you guys have thoughts on it. 402-951-1620. We'll talk about the portal, who's in, who's out, who's definitely not in. Dylan Raiola. Back after this on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Quick update to a story we've been following really throughout the duration of this show.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's been a long time since we first brought this to your attention. If this is the only place you go for news, thank you, first of all, and you're at the right place. We've been following the Megan Fox Machine Gun Kelly love affair
Since the beginning.
all the way back from the blood transfusions.
Right.
Oh, wait, they maybe have split up. Oh, wait, they're having a kid together.
Yeah, I think they were in the odd news every day for like 2 weeks there for a stretch.
It was a long time ago.
It was.
Well, TMZ is reporting that Megan Fox and Machine Gun Kelly have now split up. No! Just months before their arrival of their child, which, I mean, you just hope for the best in this situation. You just hope for the best. I don't know, that kid's life was probably never going to be great, but now it's in big trouble.
Big trouble.
I don't know, maybe it's better. They feel like a couple of those people who, you know, they're okay on their own, but together they're toxic.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're okay on their own. I don't know. So I don't know. Hopefully this isn't the end of the MGK Megan Fox story, but we owed it to bring you the latest. We owed it to you to bring you the latest.
But like the portal,
you never know.
You can't always get back together.
Well, maybe they're just testing the waters and seeing what kind of deals are available for them out there.
Now, does it say who entered the portal?
I'm a upcoming father. I left my pregnant wife. Anybody interested? Anybody interested? Hello, I'm pregnant with MGK's child. Anybody interested? Test the waters. Test the waters. That's what people are doing in the transfer portal these days. So yesterday, you know, who knows where this stuff comes from originally, but people are very guarded. We're very on edge about the whereabouts, the happenings, the minute-by-minute thoughts of one Dylan Raiola. By the way, Jason writes in, have to save Josh's no scream for Grunt the Slate. It's a good one.
Okay.
Go back and mark that one. That's a good one. What's Dylan Raiola up to? What's he thinking? What's he doing? What's he want? Does he need something? Do you need a coffee? Do you need a mint?
You need tickets to the Chiefs game?
You want to go cosplay Patrick Mahomes at Arrowhead Stadium on Sunday night?
Sure.
Absolutely. We can hook that up for you. Whatever you need, we just need to make sure you're happy. It is imperative to our program that you're happy. So when that happens and we think about a person too much, somewhere along the way, you start wondering, why would he stay? Nebraska stinks. His offense was not so good this year. He maybe regressed throughout the season. Maybe he got a little better at the end, but he regressed throughout the season. It didn't work out how he thought it was going to work out. Maybe he wasn't the prince that was promised. And so that sort of thought process gets out there, and all of a sudden people start wondering. And Dylan works very closely with the apparel provider Adidas. And
That's right.
Then people start drawing lines and drawing arrows, connecting dots. Well, Miami's an Adidas school. Texas A&M is an Adidas school. He has to stay with Adidas. So why don't we just park a big Brinks truck on his driveway or in his dorm? Or I don't know. I don't think Dylan probably lives in a dorm.
Probably not.
Does Dylan Raiola live in a dorm? I mean, back in my day, you had to live in a dorm when you were a freshman.
I imagine there are exceptions made for exceptional people.
Who's Dylan roommates with? Is he roommates with Ja'Cory Barney? Have we covered this year? I don't know how that didn't come up. Interesting. Anyway, maybe if you're one of those schools and they're NIL collectives, you say, you check in. You say, what's going on? And then people get really nervous. And there was, I think, some reporting yesterday.
You were right on the roommates.
Did we cover this? It is Ja'Cory Barney?
Yes.
It's just one roommate?
Appears so.
Wow. So he got a 4-person room with just 2 people. Very interesting. There was a national 24/7 sports reporter who put him in a story about like potential portal entry guys and said that there was one of my favorite words around this time of year, some smoke. There was some smoke.
Oh no.
There was some smoke.
There's some smoke at the crossroads right now.
There is. It, by the way, rekindled. Fire this morning, put out the fire, everybody leaves, they go home, fire's back at the crossroads.
Insurance fraud.
Not sure what's going on there. But there was some potential smoke, according to a national 24/7 sports reporter, Chris Hummer, who put him in a story yesterday. And then by yesterday evening, Dylan Raiola did an Instagram story. I hate my life. Did an Instagram story about how he was all in. He's back. Maybe every player should just do a graphic or a hype video or something like that. Does every player need to reaffirm their commitment to the school that they're at every single year now? Because when you think about it, everybody's on, I mean, they're on no contracts really whatsoever, but really it's a year-by-year thing. It's 1 year at a time. And, you know, Nebraska fans knew what we were getting into when it came to Dylan Raiola, and now that turns out that's the case with everybody. And there's a lot of people who jump into the transfer portal simply because, you know, like we said with Machine Gun Kelly, they want to see what's out there. They want to see what's out there. They want to check on, maybe they want to check on some potential earnings, or maybe they want to check on their value and how they're valued and get a hard laid out plan for the school that you're already at. Maybe it's a way to put pressure on the place that you're at. You can use your leverage to your advantage and say, what's your plan for me? And here's what I want. And can we make this work? If so, I won't enter the portal, or I will enter the portal and I will come back to that place. I think that's happening. There's a bunch of different reasons why players would enter the transfer portal, but maybe we need to do that. I mean, obviously this leads to a bigger conversation about what the hell is going on with the transfer portal right now. I mean, this is nuts.
Pretty crowded in there.
This is nuts.
I laughed at John Bishop's PowerPoint graphic when he started. I was like, okay, that's a funny little bit. And now I found it to be rather helpful each passing day.
What's on there?
Just the list of transfers and the list of Husker players entering the portal. I find it very helpful now that I can now that it's too many people to keep track of.
Okay. Do you have the list in front of you?
I do.
Read them to me.
Gosh, I hope I say all these names right. Keona Davis?
Yes, in the portal. Not for sure gone.
Noah Booster?
Noah Bustard.
Bustard. I would have been right. Okay.
He's a buster.
Gage is in there.
Gage Stinger?
Wager?
Gage Wager. Okay. Not Gage Stinger.
Mason Jones.
Riker Evans.
Brody
Tagaloa.
Dwight Boodle.
Ethan
Nation. What did I say?
Ethan Nation.
Oh, okay.
You got it. I'm just repeating. I'm just repeating everything you're saying.
Davon Hall.
Damn.
See, the font's so small. I got to get in there. Kai Wallen. James Williams,
the sack man.
Princewell Umanmielen. Daniel Kalen. Makai Gayer. When I see it, I can't say it.
Bayer.
Yeah.
Take out the G.
But when I see it, I'm like, oh, there's a G. I got to say it. Jamari Butler. Gabe Irvin. Vincent Jackson. Stephon Thompson. Malachi Coleman. Sincere
Safiula. Yeah, he got kicked off. I don't know what happened with him. TBD. He left the team a long time ago.
It's his story to tell.
Same thing with Ethan Nation, too. These guys now.
Well, they're on John's list.
Go into the portal. So, people go into the portal for a variety of different reasons. Maybe it's the old. This is why we did the portal tiers when we were in Vegas.
That's right.
It's like, why do people go into the portal?
Very helpful.
This is why this person could go into the portal, checking their worth, checking out what might be out there for them, or you can go in for the old school reason. I want to play. I want to go somewhere and I want to play. I'll go anywhere. I just want to play. Will anybody take me? Because I just want to play. Or you're a walk-on and you have been a victim of significant roster cuts. That is a reason for a few of the names on that list as well. So the portal, it's a disaster right now. And yes, people say, I know you hear people say that every day and you're probably sick of hearing them, but the thing that has to happen is that coaches have to adjust to this at the moment. We're still in a weird in-between zone. I mean, we're not to the rev sharing part yet. And, who knows what kind of changes structurally to the system come as a result of that, or as a result of the game changing yet again. But this portal thing has got to be, it cannot be free transfers all the time.
Yeah. We need
it can't be free transfers all the time.
I'm asking for a guardrail or two.
And I'm not trying to be, like I said, coaches need to adapt. Coaches need to I think you've heard that from Matt Rule. Matt Rule is 100% unequivocally approaching roster design, roster management way differently from when he got here 2 years ago. It's just different now. So I trust that guy in a situation where you need to be nimble. I think Nebraska will do fine in all these, but it's just not, it's not healthy for anybody. In the NFL, you have contracts. You have contracts. You can't just walk up and leave. You can't just go to another team. You can decide that you don't want to play, but then your value gets incredibly diminished by doing so.
But Connor, coaches can leave whenever they want to.
Yeah, and there are buyouts attached to them. You got to pay the school.
I was just playing devil's advocate.
I know. I know. That's what people say too. But it's the way it is right now. It's not fair to anybody, because then the players jump into the players jump. People are like, well, it's good for the players. Yeah, it ends up being good for them if all you're chasing after is money. But we're also
like to get better as a player.
Yeah, you want to get better. Obviously, there's the whole hey man, what happened to loyalty and what happened to fighting through adversity and all that stuff. You don't even have to go there. I think it could be detrimental to relationships, whether it's on the team, whether it's with your coaching staff. People who spent a lot. I mean, Williams Nwaneri is a good example of this. So Williams Nwaneri is a former five-star recruit out of Kansas City. Ended up committing to Missouri, took visits to Nebraska, right? Nebraska was in on that recruitment for a while. This is from a class from a couple years ago. And Missouri, the state, literally changed laws so that it was easier for players to make money in NIL. In large part because of Missouri's courtship of Williams Nwaneri. You know who's in the portal today? Williams Nwaneri.
Oh no.
Right? So I get it. Go to a better situation, go to a different, but it's just not you have to bend over backwards to be able to get these players to go to your school. And then there's no guarantee, you don't get any assurances on the back end that they're going to stay for any portion of time, or that they're going to give you anything, right? There has to be a meeting halfway at some point. Our phones. Yeah. People are calling, they have takes, and then they just give up after a certain amount of time. So I want to hear from you guys. 402-951-1620. Here's a tweet from Mitchell on the J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed. I don't think coaches have the luxury of project players anymore. Roster spots are too valuable. I think that's where we've seen a little bit of a change from Rule. They want to develop, and they want to have a core to their roster. But you look around the roster right now, and there's not a huge core. Obviously, you have pieces. You have Dylan Raiola, you have Ja'Cory Barney, you have some young guys on the defense that you trust and aren't going to go anywhere, or maybe won't go anywhere. You never know about anything these days. But there's no doubt about it. With the roster spots being tighter in the first place, You have to be really, really careful about who you're bringing in and what you're tasking them to do. I thought Schaefer, this is something that I've been saying for a long time, ever since the portal thing went into effect. Like, Schaefer wrote about it yesterday, and he talked about it on our show, the whole red shirt thing. Like, generally, every situation is different, but let me speak in overwhelming generalities at this point, Josh. Like, why would you sit a guy out for a year or limit him to playing only 4 games just because the point of redshirting a player is to not have them this year so you can trade out a year on the back end, right? You get an extra year of eligibility, one more than originally intended, one more than originally thought. But if there's no guarantee that you're going to get that year, the year before that, the year before that, the year before that, then why would you redshirt a player once again in general?
This season, I have come around to that line of thinking.
Like, if you feel like you can use them,
don't save the bullets in the chamber.
And
use them.
Once again, every situation is different because some players want to do it, and there is that they're more likely to stay, or they're cool with it. Whatever, the coach sort of has the plan laid out for them, but it like Riley Van Poppel from this year. Nebraska probably could have used some more Riley Van Poppel this year, but they obviously felt they were going to hang on to him, and so they redshirted him, and they're going to trade it out for one more year of Riley Van Poppel. If it's a different guy with a different situation who has a different mindset on things, then you probably just you don't get that year. You don't get to play it at the university, and then it's a free year where you're developing the player, you're taking the time out, and you're taking a hit on the football field because you're not playing that guy just for that person to go play the year somewhere else. That's crazy to me. So there's a lot of different arms to this, but obviously the portal does not work right now. It's broke, but could be fun to fix, Josh.
Little flawed right now.
I don't know. Might not actually be that fun to fix. Let's take a phone call here. 42 Degrees of Source Hotline. Here is Douglas. Good morning, Douglas. Thanks for calling. What's up?
Hey, guys. I agree with you completely. There should be some guardrails on the ability to move around. But that's not you all know me as a very forward thinker, outside the box dude, right? Of course.
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So back in the day when I was, they used to have a junior varsity program, and it's legal. It's NCAA rules. It's legal. So Huskers have a facility that can handle 150 players or whatever, maybe more. So why not have a JV team of 40 to 50 dudes? Guess what? They can be called up mid-season. You get the Nebraska, Kansas, South Dakota walk-on kids to buy in. The only stipulation is you can't be in your final year of eligibility. And many other schools, or many other sports do this in other divisions. Not a lot of D1 sports do it, but other D2 and D3 have JV programs. So it's out there, man. Let's make it happen.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Douglas. So they're still waiting for more parameters from the NCAA on what this whole 105 is going to look like. There has to be, right? Because if you get 105 players, and you can only have 105 players in your building, and what happens if what usually happens, which is 15 of them are hurt at once, then you're down to that, right? And I know, NFL rosters deal with 54 guys on their roster right now, but they have full practice squads, they have injured reserves, they have restricted lists, they have places where you could sort of put players and not count against the active roster. I would love to see a setup like that, but I don't know. I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know if that's going to happen. Places where you could put players if they are not eligible at the moment, right? If they're going through some sort of a waiver process and you need to get that, you need to get that taken care of. Is that going to count against the 105? And then you got 20 players injured, and then you got, however many at whatever position, and 15 to 30 of them are freshmen, developmental guys who are just in the program for the first time and aren't expected to contribute to anything on the field, like all of a sudden those numbers get a little get really, really low. And I'm not saying that they're going to run out of players. They won't. Like this will get cut down, but like parameters is kind of important.
If you put me on a JV team, I would immediately transfer.
Great point.
But
it's the same thing as a scout team, right?
Yeah,
It's just saying, hey, you're going to be on the scout.
I would imagine year to year there would be large amounts of turnover on that particular little unit, but it does need to be in place if you're going to limit it to 105.
Another phone call here from Dimitri on the 42 Degrees of Source hotline. Good morning, Dimitri.
Hey, good morning, guys. Great conversation. Hey, three things. First, I know the prior caller said something about JV, but I remember when we used to go to the JV route, and we used to find a lot of nuggets. You know, Bo used to bring in a lot of people that way before the transfer portal. What's happened to that? We don't do that anymore, or we just look at the transfer portal? And number two is, if we're giving all these players money, why can't we force them to sign a contract? You know, they're accepting money for payment now for play. Most places where I work is, you know, you take money. You're forced to stay there.
Quickly on that one, Dimitri. Like I would imagine that there is some sort of a framework of a scholarship contract that there's going to be in place. I would imagine.
I hope so, but
it'd probably only be 1 year at a time. You know what I mean? Like it's not.
Well, no, it shouldn't be 1 year and it's done. I mean, if you're signing,
but who's going to sign?
But
if you're a good player, who's going to sign a 4-year contract? Nobody.
Well, if you're making a lot of money, like our quarterback, you know, and quarterback is a different position, and I understand that. But what I noticed, though, with our quarterback, Raiola, is the way he played. I went back on the internet and I found some of his high school stuff. It's almost like the coaches are trying to change the way he plays. Why don't we try to change our offense more to the way he understands it instead of trying to force him to change? You know, do like Kansas City coach does. You know, he changed his offense to fit his quarterback. Why can't we do that?
Yeah.
You know?
Thanks for the call, Dimitri. Appreciate it. So, yeah, I think he said three things, right? Those were his three things.
I believe so. You sign a contract, you're an employee. The verbiage needs to be ironed out, which legalese takes a long time.
On the fitting Dylan Raiola to, you know, I think they're in the process of that. Like that's why you bring in Dana Holgerson.
Open this thing up a bit.
Yeah, right. And then what was the first thing? The Nuggets? What was this about the Nuggets?
Bo used to bring in nuggets.
What does that mean?
JV team.
Like chicken nuggets?
I don't know.
Like bricking for chicken?
Players? What? Bricking for chicken all over my timeline.
Bricking for chicken. Bricking for chicken is everywhere. Creighton did bricking for chicken the last 2 years. This year it's bricking for McChicken, brought to you by McDonald's. And now Nebraska has decided they're doing a bricking for chicken, brought to you by Chick-fil-A. So everybody gets chicken nuggets when the opponent misses 2 free throws.
Is Bo bringing them in?
Bo's bringing in the nuggets.
Okay.
Bo's bringing in the nuggets. Yeah, like they're always going to. Rule will always recruit developmental players. Like they're going to bring in guys. What does he always say? We're not going to recruit you unless we feel like you could be in the NFL. And there's different timelines for everybody on that. Now, how much is that actually true? I don't know. But like you bring a guy into your program, you feel like he could play football. Just everybody's timeline's a little bit different. They have some of those. You hope that they flash now because Nebraska's roster's a little emptier. Speaking of which, here's Steve Marek from Rivals. Nebraska tight end A.J. Rollins has entered the transfer portal, according to a source. Rollins, an Omaha native, Creighton prep product, spent the last 4 seasons with the Huskers and played both tight end and defensive line. Yeah, he was like bouncing back and forth. He was going snip, snap, snip, snap. So that's another guy in the portal. I was thinking about the tight end position, and you know, there's one like pending guy out there who you're sort of wondering about. I forgot. I don't know why I thought of this, but I forgot that they have that. Nebraska has that LSU guy that they brought in like randomly at the beginning of the year. Remember? And then he like tore his ACL. immediately. Mac, Markaway. So they still have them before you pan. I mean, Nebraska's gonna have to fill a lot of spots in the transfer portal, and they're gonna have to ask a lot of guys to step up. Like there's not enough scholarship offensive linemen for an offensive line right now, and there's almost not enough scholarship defensive linemen for a defensive lineman right now. So maybe you'll get some guys back out of the portal, but Nebraska will get guys too. Just when you go into that stage,
No lines.
yeah. Nebraska currently, if they went out and played football,
Like they will in 18 days?
Like they will in 18 days. They have walk-ons still at their disposal.
Okay.
They currently went out there with only scholarship players. They'd be playing like 3 offensive linemen or 4 offensive linemen or something like that. Now, I shouldn't say that because they have some younger guys, once again, who they hope can step up this year. But, yeah, it's empty. I mean, it's cut down, that's for sure. They were old last year, and they've gotten hit in the transfer portal. They were old, and they've gotten hit in the transfer portal. So what does that tell you? They need to go back into the transfer portal, and they need to get some young guys to step up. They're going to be young next year. They're going to be young.
Babies. Children.
Yeah.
If you have some
A
eligibility
bunch of children.
and would like a free trip to New York, contact Matt Rule, care of University of Nebraska at Lincoln.
Text from the 402.
By 402.
Are you sure Dylon didn't mean I'm all in the portal? I am sure.
Okay.
I am sure. He did not mean that.
Good clarification.
Yes. He's all in like Nebraska.
He had a Nebraska uniform on in the picture.
Text from Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
Can only imagine how Belichick feels about transfers. I'm sure he loves them. Here's on his thing. He's not going to be in charge of this.
Yeah.
It's not his deal. He's like, that's not my job. That's GM's job. GM's giving me the players. I coach the players. And I coach coaches who coach the players. That's how he wants to build it, which is honestly kind of a good structure for right now. Kind of a good structure. Everybody's got to be, handshake meme on all of that thing. They got to see eye to eye on it. But yeah, it may not be the worst thing in the world. All right. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. You guys' thoughts and plenty more as we roll on a Tuesday, the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. right, so who's coming in? That's the question. Anyone? Nobody? Is Nebraska going to be a desolate wasteland of a football roster?
Haven't signed anyone yet out of the portal. Portal's been open a few hours already.
Couple visitors coming in this weekend, and then I think we're in the kind of like names to watch stage, right? When a guy goes into the portal and he has a connection, you're like, whoop, name to watch. When Akana from Texas goes into the portal, and his sister played volleyball here before she transferred to Texas, and then there's a Raiola connection there. We were like, oh, that's a name. Just watch out for that one. Or like, even when I don't think there's any threat of like AJ Allen coming back to Nebraska, but that's a guy where you're like, oh, I've heard of that guy. He's in the transfer portal. That's cool. Florida State and Nebraska appear to be working on a long-term many player and coach trade.
Yeah, what's going on with this?
So half of Nebraska's coaching staff from last year is going to Florida State. They've already sent a coach back, and they've sent many. I'm wondering when this evens out, because Nebraska lost their defensive coordinator, defensive line coach, and former secondary coach, and their basically entire defensive line seemingly to Florida State. And all they got back at this point was Phil Simpson and maybe this Omar guy.
Doesn't feel even yet.
Grade the deal, Josh. Grunt the deal. Grunt the deal. There's a lot going on, I guess, with Florida State and Nebraska. Omar Graham had 20 tackles last year and a sack. Sure. I am curious to find out what kind of players Nebraska is going to get. A lot of that you probably do have to pony up in terms of money. Is Nebraska like? I wonder. Maybe a better way to do this, because you're looking at positions of need, and you're saying, well, where does Nebraska need to go out and fill and backfill in the portal? The answer is kind of everywhere. The answer is offensive line, defensive line, a
little bit of everything.
Maybe you need another quarterback. You need another running back. You need more wide receivers. You definitely need some linebackers. You need specialists. What's the kicking, holding, punting situation? Bushini man can't save you anymore. He's gone.
Oh no.
Right. So like, that's basically everything. That's basically everything on the roster. So maybe a better way to do this is, which is the position in the need of like an immediate Power 5 starter transfer, right? Like we need a guy who has produced, who has some stuff under his belt, and he would, take a nice bit of coin to come to Nebraska and be a starter and a player for them immediately next year.
What would you vote on?
If there was just one?
Yeah, like one position player.
Well, they're going to need more than one.
Yes, obviously.
It's probably a tackle.
Okay.
An offensive tackle.
Okay. I was thinking like a game-wrecking D lineman.
That would be helpful.
Yeah.
That would be helpful. Maybe you get Keona Davis back.
I don't know if there's one of those in the portal.
Those are hard to come by.
Yeah.
They are really those
tend to hang on to those.
Yeah, 275,000. I want to hang on to that. Seriously, those things are like gold. Defensive linemen in the portal for sure. I mean, you saw when Nebraska's like Jamari Butler. We like Jamari Butler. Jamari Butler is a good player.
We do.
Jamari Butler's final three is like LSU, Alabama, and whatever. Florida State, I think maybe was the other one. Probably end up at Florida State.
They always do.
They always end up at Florida State for some reason. Interesting. Kentucky wide receiver Dane Key is one to watch, according to many. Remember, Nebraska hired Kentucky's wide receiver coach, Mr. Shorts. Do you remember that, Josh?
I do.
Feels like it was a long time ago, but they did. I
does.
did that. They did that. So, there's a lot of them, but maybe you almost have to kind of tear it out. It's almost like transfer portal rankings with tiers.
Hello.
We need immediate starters here. We need I'm talking about, I won't settle for anything less than dudes who have produced. And then there is like your developmental kind of like, oh, this could be a guy. Maybe he's here for 2 years. Maybe he's here for 3 years. and he'll play for us this year, but doesn't have to be depended on to have 50 tackles or 50 catches or, whatever, or 1,000 yards at running back. And then there's that portion of guy. Then there's the interesting situation at quarterback where I don't know what the answer to that is. Nebraska has Dylan Raiola confirmed. Thank you.
Dylan.
Appreciate that. Oh, what happens with Dylan?
Because I spit hot fire.
Thank you. Applause. Okay. Wow. People are applauding him.
Congratulations, fan base. You bullied him into making a post.
You get a prize. You got Dylan back.
It's an IG story.
I don't think that was a fan base thing, by the way. I don't think that was a fan base thing.
Good self-scout.
I think that was in response to other people pushing his camp.
Okay.
Other schools and places pushing his camp. That wasn't just like a Nebraska's really worried, so we need to calm the masses thing.
That makes more sense what you're saying.
I don't think it was completely that, although it certainly helps calm the masses. So the quarterback thing, you have Dylan, you have TJ Lateef, you no longer have Danny Kalen, and you have Heine, who it's been said that there's like a commitment to get him doing other things. Basically, you're removing him from the 1-2-3 quarterback situation and kind of making him a rover, if you will. So I think you need a player there. Unless the answer, and this could be the answer, I don't know, unless the answer is Jalen football. Remember Jalen football?
The Northwestern kid?
Northwestern University in Iowa.
That's right.
The University of North, whatever it is, the NAIA Heisman winner last year.
The only Northwestern I recognize.
Yes. That guy who took a red shirt this year because he didn't play, or he didn't play more than 4 games. He might have gotten the game.
I think he got in one of those
Maybe
non-cons.
He got in a long time ago. Like, is that the guy that could create the buffer, aka he would be the backup quarterback before you get to Mr. Lateef?
I don't think I love that.
I don't know.
If you needed a backup, wouldn't you reach out to HH?
Maybe you would go that direction as well. And then there is, of course, the portal route, which would include the pitch to some guy who's been probably, playing at an FCS school or, maybe splitting time at an FCS school or maybe splitting time at a group of 5. And they want to come in as like, here, I got a deal for you. You're going to be the quarterback if Dylan Raiola gets hurt, at least for a time before TJ Lateef comes in.
Yeah. Is that enticing?
It's an opportunity to set yourself. Hey, we have great services. Academic services to get your body right. It's great. It's a great thing to be a student athlete at the University of Nebraska, especially when you compare it to Akron. Come here and be on our roster. I wonder how tight the crunch is if you feel like you have to go out and add a guy specifically to do that, and what kind of guy you could get relative to what else you're going to need to add on the roster. That'll be an interesting one to watch too.
Help my fuzzy memory here. Was it last year or 2 seasons ago where we needed this exact thing in the transfer portal?
It was last year.
Okay. We needed to pull a backup out of our butts. And
no. It was,
and everybody was like, oh, go get Casey. He'll be the backup.
Oh yeah. It was last year, right? Because it was last year.
Okay.
Because people were all worried about, and that's when they ended up getting Jalen football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They were like, is Heinrich going to stay? And then there was Danny, but there needed to be a buffer. And there was young Jay. So maybe the answer is young Jalen football or old Jalen football. Old Jalen football now. We're going to talk about the NFL in the noon segment or in the noon hour. Sorry, we'll get to reaction, overreaction. But a quick thing from last night. The Dallas Cowboys lost on a punt that they blocked.
Incredible.
Excuse me, what?
How's that possible, Connor?
Here's a stat from Opta Stats, who I have no idea where they come up with this crap. What do you even search to get there?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I don't know how I understand that they're the best, but I don't know how they do their job. Like
what is the service? What is the search engine?
I'm pretty good at researching things.
Right. And there's a lot of tools at people's disposal.
Yeah.
But this is insane. In the last 10 seasons, only twice has a partially blocked punt that traveled less than 20 yards been touched by the receiving team and then recovered by the punting team for a new set of downs. So exactly the situation that happened last night. Once again, punt blocked, punt gets, thrown off its course by the fact that it was blocked, then touched by the receiving team, the blocking team, and then picked up by the original punting team for a fresh set of downs. There was a change of possession, or you get a fresh set of downs based off of that. Only twice has that happened in the last 10 years in the NFL. Once last night to really win the game for the Bengals, and the other time was in 2021. The Cowboys fell victim to this against the Denver Broncos.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Disaster, indeed. It's right there.
Oh, no! Disaster!
Indeed.
Ooh.
That was, hilarious. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Hilarious. But
if you don't have
kind
a
of
rooting
wild
interest in that game, yeah.
Kind of wild to watch play out in real life. It's like, oh my God, they just blocked a punt and they're going to get a whole fresh set of downs on this thing.
Guy's trying to make a play on the ball. I get it.
Micah Parsons is in hell.
Yeah, he hates his life.
Micah Parsons is like, what are you doing? And then he just storms off the field. I'm out of here.
I get it.
So we'll talk about the NFL more in the noon hour as well. Still got to get Josh's take on Scott Frost.
I have one.
Okay, good. We'll do that. But first, the odd news. Next on 1620 The Zone.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
That is right. It's time for the odd news. You know who loves New York?
Connor Happer?
Connor Happer is a possible answer to that question. Matt Rule.
Oh, sure.
You know who loves the subways and wouldn't be scared to go on the subways and is definitely going to shoot some sort of promotional video on the subway?
An adult?
Matt Rule.
Oh.
Matt Rule. He says, quote, "We love this city.
He's going to, isn't he? Oh, my God.
It's home. It's been home for a long time. It's a special kind of full circle moment for us. So get on board, baby. Matt Rule loves the Pinstripe Bowl, and you should too."
Couple of former NFL coaches cutting it up.
Yep, that's right. Just be careful on those subways.
Be careful.
What do we got today, Josh?
We were just laughing at the Cowboys last night. Let's continue to laugh at the Cowboys.
Oh, fun.
A Dallas Cowboys cheerleader unexpectedly found the spotlight during Monday Night Football, and an ESPN mic made the situation even more surreal. After the Bengals scored a touchdown late in the first quarter, ESPN camera cut to Cincy kicker Cade York.
Yeah.
He explained that York had just signed with the Bengals to replace Evan McPherson, while his girlfriend Zoe Dale is on the sideline as a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader.
Cute.
A very, very
cute couple alert.
Yeah.
We should do that every day on the show.
Cute couple alert.
You know who's cute couple?
Megan Fox and
no,
MGK?
That's not a cute couple.
Oh.
Not a couple at all, actually. Right. Travis and Taylor.
A very cute couple.
They're going to spend a lot of time together now that the Eras tour is over.
Have you heard it made $2 billion?
$2 billion.
Praise God, Dale said, the ESPN mic clearly catching her comment. Buck and Aikman got a good laugh out of it, as did we all. Rather sweet story, though.
People love... Nope. Never mind.
All right.
I'm just saying, anytime you get the chance to show a Cowboys cheerleader, you take it. And if there's a story baked in there.
Any of these girls got a story?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Used to be a whole TV show about it. There maybe still is. I have no idea.
Yep.
Is it on CMT?
That feels right.
It used to be on CMT.
So normally in the odd news, we don't use a story when a person dies because it's not funny. There's no way a man dying could be funny.
Are we talking about Luigi?
No.
Okay.
No, that is
all right.
No.
Not funny. Not funny.
A witness has revealed the final words of an Australian man who died jumping over a shark net at the popular Gold Coast beach.
Quote, "Hold my beer?"
Yes.
Really?
Yes, those were literally his last words.
Nice.
Emergency services attended to the scene on Sunday afternoon after the man failed to resurface. The man's body was recovered 4 hours later. Jake Brown made the fateful decision to jump over the barrier which sits close to the beach and forms a swimming enclosure at a recreational area, which is popular with families. Hundreds had gathered at the beach to beat the heat on Sunday. Remember, it's summer in Australia. That's not a weird thing to say.
Mm-hmm. Equator.
One witness told the local paper he saw Brown and a friend sitting on the net's float. I'm not quite sure what that means, but whatever. Before Brown told his mate, "Hold my beer," and jumped over the edge. The witness said, "Stop. I could see what was going to happen, but he didn't stop." So yeah, "Hold my beer," the man's last words as he jumped over a shark enclosure, but didn't make the jump.
So what was the cause of death? Eaten by a shark?
Shark.
Okay.
Yeah. He also added, "It's so sad," adding that the consequences of the man's actions were so bleeping obvious.
Could you imagine if you were there and you were the person who had to hold the beer, and then you just had to watch that whole thing happen in slow motion? Like, that dude just jumped in the water and got eaten by a shark.
I knew it was going to happen.
How
did he not know it was going to happen? What do I do with this beer?
That is crazy. That would do some crazy things to me.
Yeah.
If I watched a person get eaten by a shark,
would you be turned off beer for a while?
I don't know. maybe in a roundabout way,
Sure.
in a long way.
Uh-huh.
But dude, that is like one of the last things I want to see.
Yeah.
Dude get eaten by a shark. Girl get eaten by a shark. Anybody get eaten by a shark.
Yeah.
The only thing I want to see get eaten by a shark is a smaller fish that I don't care about.
As God intended.
Yeah.
That's right.
Or maybe I like I do want to see, sometimes they give the shark like a big tuna or something like that. I want to see a shark eat a big tuna. But that's about it.
Something that makes a good crunch or a good splash.
No, it's cool to see the power, right? They just
Yeah.
rip through the big tuna.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I don't want to see him rip through a man,
No.
an Australian man.
Step too far.
Yep.
A man of any country,
No,
really.
exactly.
Finally, it is the holiday season.
Kenneth says beer didn't eat his friend.
It's true.
Sounds like a free beer. The buddy won.
See, I thought the audience might get a kick out of this.
Mike asks, Connor hates dogs. You want to see a dog get eaten by a shark? No, I don't.
Good follow-up.
No, I do not.
Okay, you
I don't want to see a dog in water at any point. Dogs in water is not safe.
You hear how quickly he answered that question, everybody?
No, I do not want to see
Yeah.
a dog get eaten by a shark.
A man loves dogs.
I love dogs.
He loves your dog.
Mhm.
It's the holiday
dogs.
season, and the list of the 10 most dangerous Christmas songs to listen to while driving
Okay.
is out.
Got to be Mariah Carey, number one.
Um,
People rip it to that song.
and I don't necessarily trust the source here. The South China University of Technology, or SCUT for short, where researchers found songs with a beats per minute greater than 120 can encourage dangerous driving habits.
Yeah.
After evaluating a lengthy list said to include every Christmas classic, Frosty the Snowman was named most dangerous to drive to, with a potentially crazy 172 beats per minute.
What? I never heard that up-tempo version of Frosty the Snowman.
What? That
With
that
his
would- that would
corn
really be
cob
booking.
pipe and a button nose and two eyes made out of coal.
Yeah, that
It's not that fast.
That doesn't feel like 172 beats per minute there.
You get Twista to sing Frosty the Snowman. Now we're cooking.
I mean, this specifically says the Gene Autry version. It was also recorded later that year by Jimmy Durante. Number 2, Connor, is All I Want for Christmas Is You.
Obviously, like I said, people just go crazy.
150 beats per minute there. Feliz Navidad.
Nice.
Number
Good one.
3.
I
Yes.
definitely wrecked my car to Feliz Navidad.
Love that Taco John's commercial every year. Do they still make that?
Taco Jones.
The others on the list: Santa Claus is Coming to Town and Happy Xmas, War is Over.
What's that?
Round out the top 5. I'm not familiar with that one.
one?
Maybe that's a Chinese one. I don't know. I probably don't celebrate Christmas in China, now that I'm thinking about it. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. In that number 6.
Good one. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Number 7. I Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day. Number 8. Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. Number 9. That's a slow song.
What about I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas? Only hippopotamus will do.
I would crash my car into a tree if I had to listen to that
I'd
song.
start a fire at the parking garage at
I
Crossroads.
would. And number 10, I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus.
Oh, definitely. You start thinking about mommy kissing Santa Claus. I'm going to wreck my car off the road. I'm glad they have, once again, this is like an OptaStats stat.
Yes.
Where do they get this?
Where are you finding this info?
How many car wrecks have there been? You go through the
Were you listening to any Christmas
you
music,
go through
sir?
the wreckage and
It's important.
there's things strewn all over the road and you duck your head in the car. Oh, the radio's still on. What's playing? Write that down. Send it to OptaStats. Check that out.
OptaStats, do you have a form? I'd like to fill one out.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
That's the odd news, everybody. It was odd. Back with the noon hour. Don't forget, NFL reaction, overreaction. A version of Josh's bottom 5 NFL teams.
I got something for
Okay,
you.
we'll see what we're cooking at the end of the hour. And Bigelow at the top of the 1 o'clock. It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
he does it the only way he knows how. With his massive sports brain sprinkled with a smidgen of rabble-rousing. Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Welcome back. Connor Happer, Josh Hodson with you on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and 1620 The Zone TV on YouTube, and it works.
That's right, baby.
And works. ZoneTV.live works there too.
Listen to that stereo sound.
Thanks.
Is it in stereo? I don't know.
Thanks to the video podcast / radio show provider for only being gone for
4 hours in the morning.
4 hours in the morning while I was recording one of my. Now I have to. So just know, if you're a listener to the Locked On podcast,
A very good podcast.
Locked On Nebraska podcast with me and Mitch, just know that we already recorded that podcast earlier and we couldn't use it. And so now we have to record it again this afternoon. Who knows what we'll say?
Will the energy be there? Will it be matched?
Unclear.
Now, Allan Bell couldn't join us today because he uses the same service.
Yes.
And he is, I believe he's spending his day syncing up the audio and his audio backup with the video.
Well, good. I guess I'm just not good enough to do an audio backup.
Well, I mean,
I didn't do an audio backup.
You'd have to be a damn fool not to.
It works 100% of the time, except for the time it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel like an idiot all the times I do a backup. Every time. And then I don't do a backup, and now I feel like an idiot.
That's the one time.
Text a few texts regarding our odd news stories.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Text from the 402.
Praise rolling in. Hi, 402.
Do you want to see Dr. Evil getting eaten by a freaking shark?
Only if it's got freaking laser beams on its freaking head.
Laser beams. Isn't that one of the ways that number 2 died?
Yeah.
Eaten by a shark,
Yeah, I think so.
burned alive in lava, things of that nature. Text from Pedro.
Hi, Pedro.
On the Australian guy who tried to jump over the shark tank. Hi, guys. Was that a Foster Lager beer? That is a big beer can.
Yeah.
Great point.
You don't want to.
You can't
give
jump
that up.
No, I'm just saying, like, you can't. Like, if you're maybe that's why he said, "Hold my beer." He would have taken the beer with him, but it was too big. It was a Foster's Australian for beer.
Okay.
Maybe.
Might be something there.
Maybe would have gotten eaten by a shark with a beer in his hand. Then we would have never got those famous last words. Happer's meme guy, poll question. Would you wreck your car to Feliz Navidad?
Oh, yeah. We should probably put that up there.
Yeah. Okay. Throw that up there. Christmas songs, Jason and Pender. Any love for Dominic the Christmas Donkey? I don't know that song, Jason and Pender. What's that?
I don't think I'm familiar with it.
I'm not great at my Christmas songs, to be honest with you.
Oh, you're a music guy.
I know I know most of the ones that you just mentioned in the segment.
The standards.
But I don't go out of my way. I'm definitely not into hey, and the example for this is always Michael Bublé.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to throw Michael Bublé under the bus because
okay.
I like Michael Bublé.
He knows what he is.
He's a talented guy. But Michael Bublé does a Christmas album. Like, I don't want to hear regular songs sang in Christmas versions. And I don't want to hear Christmas songs by Michael Bublé. We have the Christmas songs already. Nobody's making new Christmas songs, right? Is anybody making a new Christmas song? I don't think so.
And nobody certainly is
Nobody
I
wants
lost my
this.
train of thought.
No,
Yeah,
nobody
yeah.
wants this, that's for sure. I don't need another Christmas song.
Yeah, we need a 30-second version of Jingle Bells.
Headley writes in.
Hi, Headley.
Connor, just listen to all the chipmunk versions of Christmas songs. Dear God. That would be horrendous. I don't want to do that.
No, we will not be doing
that. Sam writes in on Twitter.
Hi, Sam.
Are we discussing another radio station's sparseness of Feliz? Another radio station that plays only Christmas music around this time of year? their sparseness, their sparse use of Feliz Navidad. Haven't heard it in the wild yet, and I'm getting sore about it.
Oh,
if I'm in the mood that one day, like there's one day a year where I'm like, I'm going to be festive. I'm going to turn on the Christmas music. So I go over to that station and I'm like, what do you got for me? I'm hoping to hear one thing. And Sam's song is Feliz Navidad. He wants to hear Feliz Navidad. I guess I don't know what mine would be, but it's probably not Mariah Carey. You could get that anywhere,
Turn on the TV at literally any point.
I also find it funny. So if I like to peruse the lists on Spotify of the like the top songs in the USA right now.
Oh, okay.
So right now they do a top 50. Right now the list is a complete disaster.
Sure.
Because a couple things have happened at once. Number one, it's Christmas time.
Flooded.
Christmas comes this time each year. It's that time. Number two, Kendrick Lamar has just released a new album.
This is true.
And so all the Kendrick Lamar songs go straight to the top. Everybody just streams the hell out of the Kendrick Lamar. When it was Taylor Swift, it was Taylor Swift. So right now, here's the list on Spotify, the top songs of the USA.
Okay.
Number 1 through 10. You ready?
Ready.
Kendrick Lamar song. Kendrick Lamar song. Kendrick Lamar song. Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree by Brenda Lee. Jingle Bell Rock by Bobby Helms. All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey. Last Christmas by Wham. Throw in a Little Gracie Abrams. That's I love that song.
She's coming to SNL.
I love that song. And then there's more Kendrick Lamar and more Christmas songs.
It sounds like Kendrick needs to do a Christmas album.
It would be all of the top 50. It would be all the top 50 on the list. And then there's all of a sudden the regular songs start to pop up a little bit more. And then there's some Nat King Cole, and then there's some Kelly Clarkson, and there's some Michael Bublé.
It's not Christmas without Michael Bublé.
Feliz Navidad, Jose Feliciano, number 32 on the list, right in front of Sabrina Carpenter's Espresso.
Take that, Sabrina.
Your time is up. It's time for Feliz Navidad.
That's right. And Taco John's.
Deb writes in.
Hi, Deb.
On Twitter. Kylie and Jason Kelsey. Kylie and Jason are probably at the point where you don't even have to say Kelsey anymore. You can just say Kylie and Jason.
If you say the two names together, yes, I am aware of who you're talking.
Kylie and Jason sing a Christmas song together.
Oh.
It's actually pretty good. Should we check this out?
Yeah, isn't this like the third Christmas album he's released?
He's really, wow.
Like it's all for charity, of course. And
it is? That's good.
Kylie.
I didn't know he could rip it like that. I didn't know he could sing.
I don't know that he can. I think he just commits very hard to the bit. So it's okay.
Paul says Silent Night is a banger, is an absolute banger.
Poll question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, put that up, but I don't
think it is.
I think I would say no, actually, to that.
Oh, hold on. I had my caps lock on.
But the one time, when you go to church on Christmas Eve or Christmas for the one time a year, I guess the second time a year after Easter, you start singing. It's like, I know this one. Silent Night. I got this one locked in.
Question before I listen to this, Kelsey.
Yeah,
song.
Go ahead, because we're going to move on from this eventually. I just don't know when.
Do we think this is clean? It's Christmas, right? They wouldn't swear.
So, the Kylie and Jason Kelsey Christmas song?
Yeah. They're both pretty foul-mouthed, but it's Christmas. Certainly they'd keep it clean, right?
I would think that they would have done a super overproduced, overly commercialized, there's probably like a Starbucks drop in there somewhere. Song, meaning there's probably no cuss words.
This is called Loud Little Town.
But hold on, I don't want to get kicked off of YouTube.
Oh yeah, the copyright.
I don't want to get kicked off of YouTube.
Okay.
I like the first part though.
Yeah, you're right about the overly produced.
Oh man. All right, here we are. Once again, NFL reaction, overreaction coming up. Here in just a little while. You know what? We're going to talk about weird stuff right now. So let me just throw this in here. And then we'll probably just end the segment. This is a real grab bag of a segment.
Sure.
It's Christmas. Right? Everybody around the country, corporate America is basically doing nothing right now.
You're all phoning it in until January.
You're sitting at your desk. You got a blank spreadsheet up and you're not doing jack with it.
Yeah.
So we're not going to talk about anything serious either. Saw a list yesterday from The Ringer. It's a good publication.
Yeah.
Many podcasts featuring many things. You know, I heard that Ringer host Ryan Russillo once tried to court Meghan Markle. I heard that yesterday.
Okay.
That is not a part of this equation. But they love sports and pop culture over there at The Ringer. So they came out with their top 10 TV shows of 2024. And then I read the list. I clicked, first of all, and then I read the list. And I saw the following 10 TV shows. Fallout, English Teacher, Expats, Evil, Interview with the Vampire, Bad Monkey, Tokyo Vice, Ripley, Industry, and Shogun. Now, Josh, I have only heard of one of those shows, and it's the number one show. And there was no real conversation about Shogun in my life. There was nobody coming up to me on the daily, did you watch Shogun last night?
Did you watch it?
We had a time in this show's history where we would come back the Sunday after a prestige TV show came on, and we would dedicate an entire segment to either recapping like Better Call Saul or Succession. We've done that. What happened to television? What's going on with TV right now? There's no TV. There's no music except for Gracie Abrams. What's going on? I feel like it's fine. It's time to ask the question. And people would say, well, what happened to sports talk radio too? I agree.
Whoa.
What happened to sports talk radio? We used to have things to talk about and discuss. And now it's just the transfer portal and dudes getting paid and eligibility and stuff like that. I sound like drunk uncle right now because I'm playing that role. I'm mad. There's no TV. There's no movies. There's no music. What's going on? Where are the music makers? Where are the art makers in our country? What's happening?
I consider myself someone who is somewhat dialed into entertainment news.
You consider yourself a man of faith?
There's a deep drive to left.
Yep.
I've only heard of 4 of those shows.
You've heard of 4 of them, though.
I've only watched one of them.
I did not watch one single television show that came out in 2024.
I have watched
not one
older seasons of a couple of those shows on that list, but have no real desire to get caught up.
What's going on, Josh? You tell me, because you're the pop culture guy. You stand up for pop culture.
Okay, so this is my theory. Maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong. I don't know. I think we as a society have regressed so far into our nightmarish hellscape that we all have a rotation of 3 comfort shows and we just binge those back to back to back and then cycle back through.
But only in the absence of good television. If there was a good show that everybody was watching, I would watch it. Now,
I think we'd make some time. Yeah.
I'm the type of person that I'm always late to it because I only watch television shows if enough people have come up to me and said, you have to watch this show.
Mm-hmm.
And I would assume that a lot of people are like me.
Yes, absolutely.
But nobody has said a word to me about TV this year. And so, yes, you're right. I have fallen back into watching Better Call Saul on Netflix. It's there. Now, I don't have a whole lot of time to watch TV. I'm not watching a whole lot of TV right now. But if I ever have a moment and if I ever need to sit down and watch an episode for 45 minutes, it's that right now. That's a show that ended a couple years ago.
So I was very shocked that The Penguin was not on this list.
Yes.
That was a show. I watched the pilot. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to get to it, but I have not watched it. But when were the strikes, the actors and the writers strikes in relation to?
I feel like that's more than a year ago now, right?
But did that impact the pipeline of shows coming out this year? I don't know. Just
maybe TV will just be back. The stupid Ben Stiller show.
The
on Apple TV,
the one you like with Adam Scott and the big hair.
That's right.
Why is his hair so big?
I don't know. But that's coming back in January. Severance, where you go to work and you don't remember anything about your life. Mm-hmm. But then there's a glitch in the system or something like that. Obviously,
always is.
I sort of enjoyed that show. Mm-hmm. I thought it was pretty good. That show's coming back in January. So maybe you're on to something, Josh. there was a couple people who replied to my tweet yesterday and said, well, maybe this is just a bad list. And maybe it is. Maybe this is just a bad list.
Well, I'm genuinely, what have y'all been watching this year? Like, I'm genuinely curious.
What are you up to?
Yeah.
What are you cooking? Or are you just on the message boards, writing stuff about the Huskers?
Been on the scroll. Huskers are good. I haven't had time for TV.
If you're a Jays fan, you're, going to every message board every day. You're like, what's the deal with Fedor? That's what you're wondering right now.
Are you in on Yellowstone? A lot of people are.
No! Yellowstone is an old show that happens to still be happening.
Either Sunday or Monday night, I will take a nap on the couch while my wife watches Yellowstone.
I got a tweet from Nate last night that said Breaking Bad is still the best show of 2024. Breaking Bad ended more than 10 years ago.
My God.
I think more than 10 years ago, or about 10 years ago now. It's crazy. I'd say Better Call Saul is my best show of 2024. I got a tweet from a person who watches television.
Okay.
I have a solid handful of good shows from this year, but nothing that was appointment viewing. I've been doing a lot of rewatching of sitcoms this year.
That's where I'm at. Sam says the only show he watches is Jay's Live.
It's brought to you by Great Clips, the official hair salon of March Madness.
Oh, wow.
Yep, people forget that. I don't, though.
The whole tournament.
The official hair salon of the whole tournament.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a great show.
Good for Great Clips.
Now, we're not giving you that much. It's 3 minutes a week.
I think that's why people like it. If I get a couple episodes behind, I can catch up. It doesn't feel like a daunting task.
People are telling me to watch The Penguin.
I liked the pilot.
Okay.
Got to get to those other episodes.
People are telling me to watch Day of the Jackal.
Load up your peacock and watch Day of the Jackal.
Yep.
With that guy.
I don't know I have never heard of that show. Bill Brasky writes in.
Hi, Bill Brasky.
I was too busy watching Chasing 3, wondering how they would stop chasing said 3. Now, what did you do the entire time they weren't releasing Chasing 3, which was the majority of the season?
Just sat by the computer hitting refresh.
I was either watching Chasing 3 or waiting to watch Chasing 3. That would have taken up your entire last 4 months. No doubt about that. Got another message. Or got another email. Here's Jim.
Hi, Jim.
I'm working under the theory that TV is spread out so many different streaming options that it's impossible for any of them to really get traction. HBO has been my longtime go-to, but this year industry doesn't stack up to Succession, for instance. No, there's no prestige TV show right now.
Hey, what if all the characters from Dune reenacted Game of Thrones this Sunday on HBO? They're not doing it for me.
Texter says Bad Monkey is a good show on Apple TV. Vince Vaughn is in it. I like me some Vince Vaughn, but like right now, Vince Vaughn, I don't know. Even season 2 of True Detective Vince Vaughn was kind of a tough hang for me. It's not the Vince Vaughn I knew.
All of season 2 of True Detective is a tough hang.
Yeah, it's not the Vince Vaughn I know. It's not. What do they call him in Wedding Crashers? What do they call him? They give him the nickname in Wedding Crashers. It's like Big something.
I'm trying to find
Big Tuna, Big something like that. I don't know. Whatever they call it. It's not Big Tuna because that's from The Office. Texture says I have a strong vote for Ripley based on talented Mr. Ripley.
The movie with Matt Damon?
Yeah, that's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. All right, so some people defending TV, not a lot of people defending TV at this moment. I'm surprised that our YouTube stream hasn't come through and told me what his nickname is on Wedding Crashers.
It would be very helpful.
Have you not found it?
No.
Well, now we're just going to be Baba Ganoush. Baba Ganoush.
Well, you said big.
Sorry, you didn't have to Google exactly that. Baba Ganoush. They call it Baba Ganoush. Yeah. Aaron writes in.
Hi, Aaron.
If you like reality television like Survivor, The Summit was too legit to quit.
Oh. Now, I don't, but a lot of people in this office passionately love Survivor. So I will recommend that to them.
I guess it's sports. I guess we're down to sports. That's what we have now.
Quite frankly, I'd like sports to be better.
And don't worry. No, but sports always come through for you. You could always watch the Cowboys block a punt and then lose on it on Monday Night Football. That's always there for you. I just think TV needs to meet us halfway.
Great opinion.
We'll handle the sports. You make me a good television show because the people need to leave sports every once in a while.
That's right. Let's let Sam get the last word on TV because it's just red meat for Connor Happer.
Okay.
The Bears season 3 being a dud left a huge vacuum.
Great take. Incredible take.
What if the best show on television inserted
well, let's just make it all about the plumber. What was the guy? The facts. Let's make the whole season's about the facts.
What if it's all its purpose was to set up the last season, the final season of the show, because the guy who made the show only wanted to do 3, but the network asked him to do 4, and he said, I'll show him.
What if the whole season was the Fly episode of Breaking Bad? Excuse me, nobody liked the Fly episode. Sorry, it's a whole season now. And the facts.
And here's John Cena.
All right, let's come back with NFL reaction, overreaction. Coming up. Thank you for the conversation about television. We've learned some things.
I learned a lot.
On 1620 The Zone. Welcome back. Connor Happer, Josh Hodson with you on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. All right, Josh, now's your time.
My time.
Before we get to NFL reaction, overreaction, we have a few topics that the writers have sent our way today.
We sure do.
I would like your take on Scott Frost returning to college football as the head coach of the UCF Knights. You could have a take on that. You could have a take on his shoes. You could have a take on the fact that his tie still isn't cinched up all the way. He'll never do it. You could ask him a million times. He'll never do it. I don't know if he's capable. Maybe that top button doesn't button up on his shirt just because his neck is so big. He's got great traps. He's always had great traps. All right. I won't try to put thoughts in your head anymore. Go ahead.
That's a good one.
Tell me about Scott Frost.
Lots of reboots and sequels suck. This one is probably destined for that as well.
You think so?
I mean, I understand.
I actually think he's going to win. I think he's going to be good.
I understand you can fall ass backwards into talent in the Orlando area. You can throw a rock and hit five-star kids outside that stadium, outside of the bounce house. They just collect there. I get that. I understand that the pressure will be off.
Yeah, that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
It is. And I do think to a certain extent that the pressures of home did him in mentally, physically, and all of that stuff. But man, have you ever taken off a long time and then tried to go back to work? Really hard to get started.
That's a good point. That's something that we haven't really talked about. Like,
you ever just sat at home for a month and then tried to go back to work?
Well, so here's what I've been operating under the idea. Like, I know this might seem like it's blasphemy. And we always look for reasons and excuses. I believe that Scott Frost is a good football coach. I always have believed that.
Okay.
I don't think we got. I don't think it happened here.
It did not.
We obviously it didn't turn out good, but I'm not just talking about the results. I'm talking about it was a different person here, for reasons that he sort of outlined in his reopening press conference at UCF. So I think that's kind of what it comes down to. If you don't think it's going to work, then you don't think he's good.
I think he'd make a great offensive coordinator for someone.
If you do think it's going to work, then you think he's good, or he has that somewhere in him.
Sure,
I think he's good. Like, I actually think he's a good coach. Theo writes in, Happer, no, don't do this. Happer, no, please, no.
Well, he probably
you were betting 1,000 on takes today, not this. Please, God.
He probably won't have Tom Osborne pressuring him,
dude. I don't know. That matters.
Oh no, it matters.
It's not Tom Osborne, but it's being here.
Mm-hmm.
It's I don't know. We kind of got retrospective about it yesterday, like, and this is all in hindsight now because we've seen how it's played out. Just never really, just didn't feel like he wanted to be here. Didn't seem like he wanted to be here.
Very quickly.
I can't say in the moment that I thought he didn't want to be here,
mm-hmm.
but I think that's something that became clear in the latter portion. I mean, obviously going into 2022, he was totally done in by that point. And then he got fired 3 games into the season, or I guess after the second game or after the third game. They lost to Northwestern. They lost to Georgia Southern. They lost to Georgia Southern, and that was
Remember all the points?
Yeah. I was at a wedding that night.
That's right. You've never seen that game.
I've never seen that game, and I've never seen the second half of another game that happened that year too. It's a season that's just fairy dust.
Yep.
Lost.
And we said that in the moment. We were like, oh, great, wasted season.
Travis says,
Travis,
I think it could be separated between someone being a good coach and being a good coach at school X. Like, yeah. But here's the thing. If Scott Frost would have gone to Florida that year,
the Gators,
after he was undefeated at UCF in 2017, There's no way of knowing. There's no way of knowing this. But I don't know. Like, maybe it's just him and Nebraska. Scott Frost and Nebraska are like MGK and Megan Fox. It's just, it's all this stuff. It's all this old stuff. And it just all comes up. And it has an effect on him, and he has an effect on it that just is toxic. It just doesn't work. The molecular compounds of the two things are we know too much. It just doesn't work.
So I'm interested maybe you'll find this out now that UCF is in the Big 12, but I still am not sure. Is it the home aspect of Nebraska that did him in, or is it the Nebraska is a big job that did him in?
Great question.
Yeah.
Great question.
Like,
because that's what we're talking about.
Would he succeed at Florida? Would he succeed at
Great question.
Florida State? Or is UCF the ceiling for him as a head coach?
We might be on our way to get. I mean, UCF is a bigger job. It's not a big job.
It's bigger than when he left.
It's not a prestige job. It's not a blue blood job. But I think that's what we're all trying to figure out. Is it something that was inherent to the fact that Nebraska is the job that it is? Or is it something that is super specific to just Nebraska and just him? He said it. And this is Frost. Like, we know Frost is an excuse maker. He loves making excuses.
He takes zero personal accountability.
And so he has a different viewpoint on this than everyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you believe it from his mouth, it's, hey man, there was a lot of pressure on me to go back from a lot of different people, from a lot of different sides. And we remember how that season played out. It was magical. It was like Riley is going down the crapper and Frost is coming up, and it's all happening at the same time. And I had somebody who said yesterday, and Josh, you weren't here yesterday, so I'll mention this again. Like, somebody tweeted at me and they were like, that Frost year, paying attention to UCF was like as optimistic as I've been as a Nebraska fan.
Sure.
In a long time. That there was such a connection there. And
I remember scoreboard watching the conference championship game that year. Yeah.
It was just different. It was just different. And he talked about how the pressure was there, and he talked about how his father was not doing well, and he was starting a family and wanted to
don't talk about his family.
Wanted to not, but when he went back to UCF, who was welcome back? Scott and Ashley Frost. And the kids, and the three kids. I can't remember their names. RJ's the first one.
But it wouldn't have went down like that at like Minnesota. Right?
I don't think so.
Right?
I don't think so. Like the more time that goes on, it just feels like the compounds of the two things don't. It just doesn't. It didn't mix. And like that goes without putting the pressure and the responsibility. Like ultimately, Frost could have handled it a lot better.
Definitely.
But the way he is, it didn't work with here.
A lot of people cope in similar ways when their job sucks and everybody they hate going to work every day.
So I don't know if it was I don't know if it was as much as the expectations as it was just him not being all the way in. Him not be, and he said that in his press conference on Sunday. He was like, hey, nobody tells you that along the way you should just stop when you're happy. Max says it all the time. He says a version of that. He goes, don't mess with happy.
Yeah.
Right?
Mac does say that a lot. And he's right. Yeah. He's right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. I don't know. That'll probably continue to come up. That might be a talking point over the next several years. We'll see what happens.
Every Monday, we're going to have to do the UCF report.
They mentioned the guys on Unsportsmanlike Conduct asked yesterday, sort of jokingly, but I kind of thought about it. UCF plays at K-State, I guess, next year.
Oh no!
How many World Herald? How many Nebraska reporters are going to that game?
There's going to be one.
I might go. This kind of sounds like fun.
If I could get a Nebraska question in here, Coach.
Yeah, Coach, how's it feel to coach 2.5 hours away from Lincoln?
Was it too close?
Well, that's probably why we didn't win. I could smell it from 150 miles away. All right, let's do the NFL reaction, overreaction. Let's party. Give it to me, Briders. What we got?
Okay, we're cooking this week. Take number 1. Bryce Young will pull the Panthers out of their hole next season.
Do you believe? The question here is, do you believe in the long-term future now of Bryce Young? Are you in on the Bryce Young train?
I think I think it's
they have their answer.
It's working.
Now they definitely have their answer for, like, the option is cut bait with him and go back to an Andy Dalton equivalent, right?
Right.
Or go with him, right, and invest in him. And he's been a different guy since he's come back. I don't know that you could say, hey, this is the answer. This is the long-term commitment. But, I mean, you kind of owe it to him. He's your first overall pick, and he's pulled them out of some holes already.
Played the Chiefs and the Eagles close.
He's been really good. Honestly, he's been really good. He's been decisive.
Not like there's a lot of weapons on that team.
He's made plays. Mm-hmm. Like, there's something to build off of there. The question is, like, does the word spread around where they can go out and get, a free agent or something like that?
Yeah.
Or draft well enough for it to work. But I think the quarterback thing is kind of taking care of itself there.
You at least got to see it through a little more. Right?
I don't know if he's going to be the guy to pull him out of this gigantic hole that they're in, but you at least feel like you can move on to other things now. It's like, we have other problems. Okay, great.
Yep.
Let's take care of those.
Take number 2. The Rams will make the playoffs.
Oh, look at what they did for themselves this weekend.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Look at what they did for themselves. And look at what they've done for the Kansas City Chiefs as well. Yeah. So the Rams are 7-6. They are the 8th best team in the NFC at the moment. They're a game behind the Commanders. You're basically looking at the Commanders, and the NFC South winner is going to be, one of Tampa or Atlanta, so you don't have to really worry about the other one, even though Atlanta's a game back of LA at this point. Arizona's there, San Francisco's kind of there as well. But I'm really looking at LA versus the Rams versus the football Commanders. And boy, which way have the football Commanders been trending recently? I shouldn't forget that they trounced your boys this weekend. They crushed them.
Last weekend.
Last weekend.
Mm-hmm. They've been sitting at home.
They were up 28-0 in 10 seconds.
That's right.
And the game was over, and I was sitting at a Vegas sportsbook, Circa Resort and Casino, saying, my God, what is going on? Maybe they're back.
Titans are playing for draft stock.
I definitely prefer the Rams to Washington right now. Just if you're doing stock arrows. Definitely prefer the Rams to Washington, even though they're a game behind. I think the Rams are dangerous. The Rams are super dangerous. They just have to get there. So I'm not convinced that they are going to get there, but I know they could beat someone when they get there. Unless you're about that with the Commanders. You don't know until you prove it. Like, the Rams have some proven playoff pedigree to them. Stafford. Cooper Kupp. Puka.
Thinking of any of those guys?
And
Puka's been back.
Seems like week by week.
Mm-hmm.
Puka's doing something incredible every single week.
Yeah. He's trying to be Josh Allen out there.
Take
number 3. Sam Darnold and the Vikings have a higher ceiling than we thought.
It's an abstract question, writers.
Yeah.
Abstract question. But I think what they're trying to get me to talk about is the fact that Sam Darnold is good. And I'm not just saying like he's serviceable. Sam Darnold is good. Like, I wonder what Sam Darnold's WAR is right now.
Ooh.
Like, Sam Darnold is Sam Darnold is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he is good.
Uh-huh.
So it was always focused around him. It was always like, well, you can't win the Super Bowl. You can't get to the NFC Championship. You can't beat the Lions because you have Sam Darnold. That is not the case. That is not the case. Now they haven't been super impressive and not super flashy, but
they're 11-2.
You watch them closely and he makes some throws. Like he really, really makes some throws. And it's not just like, I'll go 10 for 10 for 60 yards and hit 9 checkdowns. No, it's not that. He's making plays for them.
That triumvirate of Lions, Vikings, Packers, outside of each other, they have not lost a game since October.
And then there's the Bears.
There's the Bears. But the
Vikings
Vikings
lost in every imaginable way.
Yes. The Vikings are 11-2.
They're 11-2, so it's easy for me to say, well, they're good. No, they're like, we did this with the Vikings a few years ago. It's like, oh, they have a really good defense, and whatever. They'll probably get beat by some crap team in the first round. They might be. I don't know. Like if they popped up in the NFC Championship game, would you be shocked?
No, I don't think so. No,
I don't think it would be. Would you be shocked if they popped up in the Super Bowl?
A little, yeah.
Me too. So there's a little bit of a difference there.
I think that's more of their like franchise history than
probably
Sam Darnold.
They don't do that
specifically.
They've definitely not done that.
Take number 4.
Yes.
The Falcons should bench Kirk Cousins for Michael Penix.
So something that has happened over the last 3 weeks now. Kirk Cousins is done. He is done.
Yeah.
I mean, he is throwing interception after interception, but it's not just like the results of the bad plays. Like, watch him play. He is done. His arm doesn't work anymore. And he's always kind of had a noodly arm, but
they ran for their touchdowns on Sunday. Okay, so Kirk has not thrown a touchdown in 4 weeks.
Yeah, I think is it like 0 touchdowns, 11 picks, maybe more than that, because he had the week where he threw 4.
Yeah, I believe it is 11.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it was 0-9 before Sunday's game, and he went 0-2.
He's been truly horrendous. And the thing that,
what a tough.
Like, you watch him and you're like, oh man, this guy just cannot. He just can't get the throws out quick enough, and doesn't have the arm strength to do it. Well, who's the guy who's touted with the rocket arm? The Penix man. The Penix man.
God, that's a really tough spot to put a kid in.
The Penix man can. Now, he's owed, I believe, $50 million next year, Mr. Cousins. Or he's got a $50 million cap hit. So you can't just I don't know what you're going to do, but
you got to Browns that thing. I mean,
keep in mind,
he ain't their quarterback next year.
They, being the Falcons, are very much in the playoff hunt.
Yeah, they're a game behind.
So there's two
Tampa?
ways. There's 2 ways you could look at it. Yeah, right. They're 6-7, and Tampa's 7-6. Do you stick with Cousins, hoping that you can go +1 on Tampa over the last couple games here? Or do you go with Penix, hoping the same thing, right? Like, one of them has a higher ceiling, much lower floor, but I don't know. Kirk's floor is too low to right now. Like, 7 weeks ago, Kirk, you would have been like, oh, okay, our floor is high enough. We can win. We can go 500, whatever. I'm not convinced that's the case anymore.
Let me give you their final 4 games, and you tell me who you'd put in at quarterback.
All right.
At the Raiders versus the Giants, at the Commanders versus the Panthers.
That makes it really hard.
That does,
because that schedule is crap.
That makes it tougher. For me,
can you find a way to get me some Penix? Give me a little Penix,
some Penix packages,
something like that.
Maybe you do
that
it
is
that
tricky.
way. Maybe you do it that way.
Yeah.
And then, if you
bring in Penix and he just throws a bomb.
If you see a flash or two in there, like, okay, maybe we let him play a little longer. And okay, he's our quarterback now.
Yeah. Tricky. I think that's an appropriate reaction, though. Ultimately, I think Kirk is just so done.
I wouldn't have thought so just based on the question, but some of these facts that I've found while discussing it make me think otherwise.
Pretty damning, aren't they?
Yeah.
All right, Josh, would you like to tell people what your top/bottom 5? I've given you the only parameter I've given you is 5 something that has to do with the NFL. What do we have?
Top 5 NFL takes I'm tired of hearing.
Awesome. I don't even know where that's going to go. That is in lieu of the bottom 5, which has gotten a bit redundant.
Oh, yeah, well,
we'll mention some teams. Back after this on 1620 The Zone. Yeah, you can't get rid of the song.
Well, the takes I'm going to list suck.
There you go. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
It's time for Josh's takes that he's sick of hearing. Here to finish out the hour, the Connor Happer Show. Jacob Bigelow will join us in a few minutes. Josh, what do we have today?
Top 5 NFL takes I'm tired of hearing, whether it be from you people on Twitter, the chit chat shows. Here we go.
God, come on. Take forever.
Number 5.
Oh, can
please.
I guess one?
Sure. I think that'd be a fun game to play.
The Chiefs get all the breaks or something like that.
No, I'm actually not tired of hearing that because it's true. God is a Chiefs fan.
What do you mean? They just hit a field goal off the uprights. That's normal. That happens.
They're chosen people down there in Kansas City. Number 5, Nick Sirianni is a genius.
People are saying this?
Shut up about this. He's not a good coach. Everyone on that team hates each other. That team is a house of cards waiting to fall.
Yeah. The whole I've had to back off we're going to get a crappy Chiefs-Eagles Super Bowl this week.
We still might.
I don't think so. The Eagles are in trouble again. Once again, 13 weeks in the season, the Eagles are falling apart at the seams.
That's what they do every year.
Yeah.
I wanted to.
Interesting. What the common denominator might be.
I texted our friend Allan Bell Friday night. I said, Did you see this guy bet $3 million on the Eagles money line?
Could you imagine?
Could you imagine? He said, I could not imagine watching.
I kind of felt like the Panthers.
Game.
Like I felt like the Panthers were one of my teams this weekend. It was like, yeah, they're going to cover.
You called it. You called the cover.
Yeah, I've been betting on the Panthers recently.
Yeah,
not to win, but to cover.
Not these Johnny come latelys.
Yeah, forget about it.
Number 4.
All right, it was fun. I was a part of this for many a week. I'm tired of talking about the NFL teams that are in New York City. I'm tired of talking about the Jets and the Giants.
Yeah.
Delete them from our collective consciousness, please.
Okay.
I'm sick of them.
Done. Easy enough for me.
I get it. They're in New York. They got Aaron Rodgers. You want to talk about New York, New York, New York. I don't care. I don't care how bad they are. I know they're bad. I'm over it. Everybody getting fired.
You don't think it's funny to laugh at the Giants every Sunday?
Like it kind of is in a vacuum, but like I don't need to talk about it on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Too much airtime is being given to the New York football teams.
Do we need to have a New York? Do we need to find a New York correspondent for the Pinstripe Bowl?
Oh my God, we probably do.
What do you think? What do you think the Pope's doing? Drinking a Diet Coke, I know, but what else?
Nobody cares about college football.
What do you Pinstripe Bowl? What?
Is a gorilla flipping the coin?
Who's in that? Who's in that? Boston College. I like Boston College.
Bill O'Brien.
I like Boston College.
Middle school rule? No, thank you.
All right, I'll be on the prowl. I'm going to just search New York and see what I get.
Couldn't possibly come up with anything.
Yep.
3. Combination of 3 and 5.
Number 3.
The AFC West is catching up to Kansas City.
You don't want to hear about it anymore?
It's not real.
It's not real?
It's not real, people.
Wow.
What's going to happen? The same thing that always happens. The Chiefs have already won the division. They're
so you are resigned.
Teams.
You were
yeah.
You were where I was last week.
I understand. Both the Chargers and the Broncos are 8-5. Very nice, much improved teams in a lot of instances. It's not enough.
The Chargers haven't beat the Chiefs since that wacko game at like the beginning of 2021. It was like one of the first couple weeks of the year, maybe the first week of the year. But all the games seem close. The Broncos. Do the Broncos still have one more crack at him?
I believe so.
Yeah. Broncos fans are like, yes, we finally got
last week of the season.
We're in a great spot. They're going to be sitting all their players.
Yep, that's true. Maybe they will be.
Yeah,
but that would be fool's gold winning that. Like,
they're not
that game.
catching them. They're not catching them in terms of because they're not Super Bowl contenders,
right?
Those other teams aren't Super Bowl contenders. But could they beat them? Could they beat them?
Yes. They are improved squads.
If the Chiefs would have doinked that thing in, then the Chargers would have beat them, and you would have had a different tune today.
Maybe. I would have loved for that to have happened.
No, it didn't happen, though.
But it doesn't happen to God's favorite football team.
Here comes 2. Number 2.
Top 5 NFL takes. I'm tired of hearing number 2. Officiating is terrible.
We know.
Yes, we know.
We're aware. What's that? It was a face mask that they missed on Joe Burrow last night? I know. They miss him all the time.
What? There's holding on that play? Yeah, there's holding on every play. Officials are terrible. You got to get over it. You got to stop complaining. You sound like a damn child.
Thank you, Josh. I'm totally with you because then you know what people will say when they go back and they show it on slow-mo instant replay?
Mm-hmm.
They say, how did he miss that? How could he have not? Well, it's actually pretty easy to see how he would miss that because it was in a scrum of 1,000 people.
We have 37,000 cameras hovering above the stadium stadium, and the ref only has 2 eyes.
That's exactly right. And then they say, well, they should just be able to replay that. No, they shouldn't. Mm-hmm. That's even more stupid somehow.
I don't want these games taking 7 hours to play. No, thank you.
No. Yeah, the refs are bad.
Mm-hmm.
They just are.
Maybe you, as a team, commit more penalties and see if any of them get called.
But we think the refs are worse than they actually are because we have the ability to watch it in retrospect.
Yeah,
I can't think of how many times I saw a replay this year and I thought one thing and then they took a commercial break and then they showed the same replay and then I thought a different thing. And you guys think that's a problem with officiating? No. That's a problem with replay, folks.
That's right. Okay. What could it be? Any guesses for the NFL take I'm most tired of hearing? It involves one of the teams who played last night.
Make it so, number one.
Number one.
Interesting. Just about the Cowboys in general. Dak Prescott. Is he the guy or not?
I maybe should have put that on there.
Okay. Jera.
No.
The sun coming in the stadium.
Nope. You're focused on the wrong team, my friend.
The Bengals are good.
Close. Joe Burrow should be the MVP. Get out of here with this. You know how
people love talking about Joe Burrow.
Stop pretending you don't know how this award works, okay? Best quarterback on one of the 4 best teams in the league. That's how it works every year. Stop kidding ourselves. Stop making false narratives to jazz up a Bengals-Cowboys Monday Night Football game. Joe Burrow is not the most valuable player in this league. I understand. Hey, but by definition, the word value, if you took Joe Burrow off that team, they'd be a winless football team. I get you, but right now they're 5-8 and they suck.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
We're back with the 1 o'clock hour.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you went a little overtime. That's all right. Back after this on 1620 The Zone.
up! That's the country song, right? Remember when?
Thank you. Jacob Bigelow.
Yeah. Whenever my open is concocted, throw that in there.
He's on fire! Jacob Bigelow, Huskers Illustrated, on the Connor Happer Show, on 1620, The Zone.
All right, here we go. Let's have a chat with basketball man and man of many takes, Jacob Bigelow of Huskers Illustrated and the Stretch Big podcast. Good afternoon, Jacob. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Hap. Sounds like we're the Charles Barkley meme. We're going to start a dialogue. Let's have a chat.
What are we starting a dialogue about today? Are we at odds about something?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Oh, we're just generally starting a dialogue.
We're just generally starting a dialogue. That's all.
Okay, that's good. Your thoughts, as it appears you have commented on Twitter. How do you feel about Creed showing up at Pinnacle Bank Arena in August?
Sounds like that may be just an A++ people watching experience. Going to see a Creed show in 2025 because it's a mix of the youths who like found Creed on TikTok, and then like the old heads who are like, I've been here the whole time. Like I've been here since day one. So I think just the combination of the clientele that will be in the building at PBA in August, that may make the experience worth it in and of itself. I heard similar reviews when they were at Sturco back in, I think they were there over the summer. I had a buddy that went, and he was like, that may have been the people watching Capital of the World that night.
Am I off base here in saying that I don't know what the percentage is, but there is a large swath of people who quote unquote enjoy Creed music, Creed songs, enjoy it for the bit. Like it seems almost sarcastic. Not that they don't like it, but it's like you said, you described them as the people who have found out about him in the internet age as the guys who did the crazy Thanksgiving concert at the Cowboys game.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a big swath of the people who have been taking in Creed recently, where it probably is for the bit. I'm sure there will be people who will buy tickets to Creed at PBA for the bit to say, hey, we can post on Instagram that we went and saw Creed. That'd be funny, right? So I would not. I'd say there's probably a pretty big population of people, probably around my age and younger, who are gonna be going to see Creed for the bit.
Okay. Well, are you in for the bit? Just to nail you down on this, are you in on this thing?
I might be in for the bit.
You like to go along for the ride. You're a guy like, hey, if there's a party, I might as well show up.
Yeah, no, I am kind of in random places all the time. That is kind of my bit. So I think a Creed show may, fall onto the list. We bring the bits together, Creed and my running. Bigelow's there. That makes sense. Just something like that. No, it would be pretty on brand.
Okay, all right. Well, so we'll watch for that when August rolls around. Let's talk about Nebraska basketball here. I will ask you very simply, what the hell was that on Saturday? What happened?
That was a team getting punched in the mouth immediately, and probably in other metaphorical parts of where they got punched, and just not even coming close to getting back up. I know they got it to single digits with a little run at the end of the first half, but I mean, it doesn't matter who you're playing. A 37-point loss is a pretty big black eye, especially in the conference. And it's basketball season, so it is a long year. They started the Big Ten season last year off with a pretty sloppy performance as well, not to the tune of a 37-point loss, but blowing a double-digit lead on the road after getting their teeth kicked in by Creighton was how they started the Big Ten last year. So it's, Friday night presents a big bounce back, but Saturday, I mean, that was one of the more abysmal Nebraska basketball games that I can remember. And I've either been a part of or been witness to some pretty damn bad Nebraska basketball games in my time. That one was a special kind of bad.
Yeah, I guess I didn't see that coming. I felt like the floor in the program had been raised. I don't want this to sound like super big picture and melodramatic or anything like that, but like I guess I just thought that they weren't really capable of that. And that's sort of where I was at. And so that it was really disappointing and sort of disheartening to see that on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I didn't think there would be any results in the league where they just straight up get punched in the teeth, and they took it and on the chin and then some against the Michigan State team that I don't think is like elite by any means. That's kind of like the more eye-opening thing. Part of it to me is I think Michigan State is like just okay to good, like in the Big Ten, like grand scheme of things. I think the Big Ten is a big jumbled up mess of mid, even at the top, to be quite honest.
Yep.
But I think Michigan State, falls into like they're okay. Like there's nothing like too special about them. But I was right there with you. I didn't think there'd be any showings like that for Nebraska, on the schedule, and especially not against a team that isn't all that outstanding when you look at it.
Strung a couple really nice games in a row from the 3-point line against South Dakota and North Florida. But still, when you look at the total package right now, Nebraska still shooting under 30% as a team from the 3-point line, 288th in the country at the moment. The other stats or metrics or whatever, they look pretty good for Nebraska. Like, what do you think? Because I feel like this is the topic with both of our local teams. What are they from a 3-point shooting perspective, and what can they be? And they're always different things. You keep waiting for it to happen. So what did you think the ceiling is with this group from a shooting perspective, and how close are we to it right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know what I thought the ceiling would be. I mean, I thought that the two guys who could raise it the most were Connor Essegian and Gavin Griffith. Connor Essegian goes on a hot streak last week to the point where he's getting the Keisei Tominaga treatment defensively from Michigan State, where they're getting physical with him, they're denying him the ball, they're trying to keep it away from him at all costs after back-to-back 20+ point performances. And Gavin Griffith is almost out of the rotation. So I don't really know where the next guy after Essegian would be to raise even the floor from 3. I mean, your next candidate may be Berke, who hasn't made that many threes, but I don't really. Yeah, he's made 3 of them. I don't really know who your most consistent. I mean, it's probably Bryce. Honestly, I've kind of forgot about Bryce. But he's been, streaky at best from beyond the arc, and the cast of characters to raise the floor from 3 outside of Essegian, you have definitely more questions than answers. I think, especially it's I don't know what the end product can be, but it's got to be a part of the game plan. For success in the long term, and you're obviously, as Michigan State showed defensively, you have to find someone other than Essegian who can pick up some slack from beyond the arc.
Yeah, right. Okay, so let me just bounce this off you as we sort of go down the list here. You have Bryce, who has been he's a consistent 3-point shooter. Like, you have him in your back pocket. He's been pretty good at that throughout his career. Essegian, same thing. He's been really, really good at times. And then, like you said, he starts to get a little bit more attention drawn at him. The rest of the candidates. So Worcester doesn't want to shoot it and won't. Gary wants to shoot it but doesn't make them. That's not been his bag in his collegiate career. And Berke, maybe there's something untapped in there, but not exactly the guy I want shooting the ball from behind the 3-point line. And then there's Griffiths, who's, like you said, almost out of the rotation by this point, but he's 3 of 19 from 3 this year. Like, there's not a lot of options there after you get past Bryce and Connor Essegian.
No, not really. And I mean, we've seen Morgan take a couple threes. I've not really liked the way that's looked. I mean, there's a lot of like no yes guys.
Yeah,
who are definitely going to be like, if they're pulling up, you're like, what in the hell? But if they go in, you're like, okay, we can live with that.
Jawan definitely a no yes for sure.
Yeah, I think he may be the captain of that team, to be honest. But I think that they're like you said. I mean, I think that remains a question with this group. It's definitely looked like a tale of two teams from the first week, where I think you compared them to a garbage barge in terms of wanting to move slow.
Respectfully.
Respectfully, you called them a garbage barge with how they wanted to play and the pace they were going to move at. The last week when they almost scored 100, or they scored 100 points in one game and almost hit 100 that week too.
Yeah,
it's been a tale of two teams, and as is the case with most things, not just sports but in life, the truth is probably somewhere in the middle.
Hey, I'll say that it doesn't have to be garbage on the barge, but it is a barge. That's where I'm at.
Are most barges full of garbage? Like, is that like what else is on a barge other than garbage?
That's a great question. Josh, anything else that you could think of that goes on a barge, or a ferry, maybe a ferry of some sort? Just a large, slow moving water vessel, right? That's
in honor of the Pinstripe Bowl. Is it the Staten Island Ferry?
The Staten Island Ferry, honestly, now that is a trash. That is a trash barge, even though it's not really a barge. That's more just a trash can.
The Staten Island Ferry, but the N in Staten is the block N.
They should do that.
Is that what we're looking to?
They should do that. I know they're looking for like promotional stuff to do around the Pinstripe Bowl. Repaint the Staten Island Ferry and put the block N on the middle. I don't see why not.
Look at this. Look at that. Marketing 101. You get a little bit of everything with me, including marketing for the Staten Island Ferry.
How important does Friday then become for this group? Just in terms of the obviously you want to get a win and it's an opportunity to do so in your home court, but the response feels like it's sort of a big moment going into Christmas break.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. It feels like a sneaky big game for both teams. Indiana, kind of took it to Minnesota last night at Assembly Hall. It's also going to be Indiana's first true road game of the year. The only time they've been away from Bloomington was when they went to Atlantis and they got punked by Louisville and forget who they lost to. Their other loss down there. So it'll be their first true road game.
Gonzaga.
Big Ten game for Gonzaga. So they did get punked twice. So it'll be their first true road game, second conference game for the Hoosiers, another program that I'm oddly familiar with. And they scored 82 points last night, but they only made 3 threes. So they are going to be looking to play. If I'm Indiana's bigs, if I'm Umar Bala, Mackenzie Mbako, Malik Renault, I'm watching that Michigan State film and I am like almost foaming at the mouth, not literally, but figuratively, thinking about how you could play through the paint, play at the rim against Nebraska, and I think it's a sneaky big game for both teams on prime time in prime time on Big Fox, which is quite the sentence to say as well.
Not to put you on the spot too much here, but anything else caught your eye around? Like we're going to use you just as the what's going on in college basketball guy as well. Anything else caught your eye over the last week or so?
The SEC, man, the SEC. And I know there's been a lot of hubbub about, the discourse surrounding SEC football, the woe is me-ism from Alabama. But while all that is going on, the SEC is a pretty deep basketball league. And that is quite the sentence for someone to utter. Teams that were picked toward the bottom of that league made some statements over the weekend, most notably Missouri, taking down KU and Columbia. Here, big week for Mr. Brightside last week for that song.
Sure was.
It just happened to work its way into the discourse one way or another. But the SEC has definitely caught my eye. Patino getting the custom-made Lou Carnesecca sweater, saying he went to a tailor and said, "I need a Carnesecca sweater." That caught my eye. And then we're a week past it now, but I was in the building for Creighton KU last week. That caught all 4 of my eyes, literally up close. But first and foremost, I think the SEC is going to be, the SEC is already really good, but I think that league is going to be a war throughout, and it's probably the best conference in college basketball without much debate or question.
Sounds like the next John Rothstein tweet: SEC basketball, a war.
Something along those lines. But Missouri was picked toward the bottom. They beat Kansas. Vandy was picked toward the bottom. They beat TCU over the weekend. There's a lot of good hoops going on. Ole Miss is ranked in basketball.
Chris Beard.
Ole Miss basketball is ranked. It's an interesting time for that conference, and I'll be keeping an eye on it a little bit.
All right, Jacob. Appreciate it as always. Enjoy the rest of your week. We'll talk to you soon.
No, sounds good, Hap. Appreciate the time, like always. Have a good rest of the show. Good rest of the week, fellas.
Jacob Bigelow, Huskers Illustrated, the Stretch Big Pod. You could catch out all the basketball hoops thoughts there. More hoops thoughts than you could even comprehend.
Whoa.
Your tiny little pea brain couldn't even think about basketball as much as Jacob does.
Travis asks on the YouTube.
Hi, Travis.
Is the SEC that good, or is the ACC absolutely washed as a basketball conference?
This has been something that has been on the radar a little bit over the last couple of years. I mean, they're like Duke and North Carolina have like taken on a different, sort of light about them,
Sure.
right? They're different, and Duke is obviously very good.
There's only 2 ranked teams in the ACC right now: Duke and Clemson.
Clemson is probably Clemson's the other one. Like North Carolina is always going to schedule tough because they're North Carolina, right? Like North Carolina has lost to Kansas, Auburn, Michigan State, and Alabama.
Creighton receiving more votes than North Carolina right now.
Yeah, but you can't be ranked at 5 and 4, but they have 4 losses and they're all fine.
Yeah.
No shame in losing to any of those teams. And there's 100 teams in the conference, and it's a mess. And Pittsburgh is kind of back. Jeff Capel's got them boys back.
Pittsnoggle?
Yeah, Pittsnoggle.
West Virginia.
Pittsnoggle played at West Virginia 20 years ago.
Damn.
So just missed.
Sorry.
Syracuse sucks now. There was a moment where Miami is good. They suck.
Uh-huh.
Florida State was good for a minute. They suck. Or I don't know. They're fine, I guess. Louisville is trying to make its way back. Chucky's trying to get them boys back. Right? And then you have the weirdo Stanford, Cal, SMU teams in the conference now that don't really
people forget.
Going to really add anything from a basketball perspective. Even though SMU is actually kind of good. SMU 52 on KetBomb right now. Nice job.
Oh, hello.
Yep. Good job. Even though they lost to Butler. Shout out to the Big East.
Big East. Back like it never left.
Yeah, I was worried about the Big East. And after the Big 12 Big East challenge, I'm a little less worried about the Big East. A little, but it's kind of still Marquette and everybody else in the Big East. Yeah, ACC is definitely not what it used to be. Growing up and watching epic battles between, I feel like there was one a night.
Oh yeah,
it's like we got an ACC game on tonight. I got to watch this. Jay Billis is going to be there.
Maryland and Syracuse are going at it.
It's definitely not that way. Oh, Maryland should have stayed.
Probably a better fit.
Yeah, and the SEC is most certainly a war. I don't know what's going to happen to Creighton this Saturday, but I'm worried.
Going into
I'm worried.
Lion's Den.
Well, and it's the biggest rivalry in college basketball.
They
want blood. They are not happy for some reason. They're perpetually aggrieved, but they have pointed out Creighton for the last year. You will get yours. So I don't know what that's going to look like on Saturday, but I know that you'll be able to hear it all here on 1620 The Zone.
My guy.
I got you. We're back after this on the aforementioned 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the clown.
Well, we'll see if we have time to get to that Caitlyn Clark thing.
Running out of show, but we'll try.
Well, there was news.
News on news?
She got a special award or a special recognition.
Special teams, special players, special plays.
That's right. What's up, brother? What's Caitlyn Clark doing in when she's not playing basketball? What's she up to? She's hanging out back in Iowa?
Scouting Butler basketball? I don't know.
Oh, well, she's well, like I said, we'll get to it.
We'll get to it.
We'll get to it. We got a text here.
Got to get to this.
It's from the 843.
Hi, 843. Where the hell is that?
South Carolina.
Oh.
We are huge in South Carolina. We are huge in South Carolina.
Love it.
Do we have a center on the roster to replace Ben Scott? And if not, where do you rank that on the need on the offensive line and to bring somebody in from the portal? Do we have a center? Interesting question. So the short answer is kind of, when you have Lutovsky, right? Mr. Lutovsky, he could play some center. Guard. I always operate under the idea that guards can play center.
Okay.
That's not always the case, but guards can play center. You have Justin Evans.
Justin.
He was kind of the backup center this year, also the starting left guard. So you have those two. And then you have Mr. Gutula at tackle. That's probably not an option. And then you go to the likes of Sam Sledge. He's in there. He's in that thing. Brock Knudsen. You could throw him in there.
Listen to all these bodies.
Yeah. Yep. And then, if we're going beyond center, if we're just talking about offensive line now. So Teddy Prohaska. Remember Teddy?
I'm familiar with his work.
What about him? Why are you acting like that?
A lot of people in the audience, myself included, have fallen out of love.
You're just over it.
Yeah. Sometimes.
You want a person who you've fallen out of love with? Let me introduce you to John. You don't even have to email us. I know. Turner Corcoran.
There it is. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm pretty sure, after thinking about this, I'm pretty sure Turner Corcoran can come back.
No, thank you.
So his first his first year was 2020, right? 2020 doesn't count.
That's right.
2021. 2022, 2023, 2024, in which he only played 4 games this year before he was injured for the remainder of the season and never came back. So he would have, I believe, if a math is correct here, another year of eligibility.
You got to sit that young man down and say, TC, look, these rosters are getting cut down to 105. This is the worst part of the job. I'm sorry. There's no room for you here. Good luck. Would you like me to call someone?
Do you need to talk to somebody?
Do you need a taxi?
No, I think that is possible. I maybe that's the best for everybody, where he just goes. However,
you got to white fang him.
However, the question that the texter from South Carolina brought up is notable here. We'll have to see what happens with Nebraska in the portal as it courts offensive linemen. It's not like they have a bunch of them.
Are there any high schoolers available to play in the Pinstripe Bowl at the position of center?
I haven't got a clear answer on that. I know you were kidding, but
well, that's the rule now, isn't it?
I don't know.
Okay.
They can be with them on the trip. They could be there.
Okay.
But I don't know if they can actually play. I don't.
So it does sound weird when.
Yeah.
Like, they can play in the bowl game? That sounds weird. Doesn't seem right.
I don't know what's going on with that, but I'm just saying maybe there's still another year of Turner Corcoran. Maybe. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. What about another year of Teddy Prohaska? If not, if you're just saying no to both of those things, which I understand that, if you're just saying no to both of those things, then okay, then Nebraska's got to go into the portal and get established tackles to play tackle for them next year. Just so you guys know. I mean, we had this whole argument with other people that I've left on the roster already, and it was like, hey, but why are people just turning away production, turning away experience as it pertains to guys like Emmett Johnson? When people actually liked Emmett Johnson.
I would dance with the devil I don't know in this instance.
Okay.
Just me personally. Whatever everyone else thinks is fine.
Okay. All right. Just saying. That's out there. So thank you for the question from South Carolina. It ruffled too many feathers here. Derek writes in on Twitter.
Hi, Derek.
Can Rule just put tags in guys' lockers, letting them know that they're not on the 105, a la Major League?
That'd be the way to do it. And somebody could prank somebody by putting a red tag in there. And then somebody storms into Matt Rule's office and tries to beat the crap out of him.
And we'll find all about it on Chasing 3 next year.
That's right.
Hey, the 12-team playoff is set, Josh. And
sure is.
We are headed to campus sites for the first round.
Ah, yes.
We also have broadcast crews for the first round. So here's what ESPN has decided to do. Remember, ESPN basically sublet. They took their apartment and they said, TNT, you could have this. You do the whole thing, and you could take our talent, but there will be a game that's on TNT.
It is a ESPN production.
An ESPN production that it will take place on TNT.
They just don't have the airspace for it.
Right. So here's how they're going to do it from a broadcast crew perspective. Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, Holly Rowe, they will call 4 games throughout the playoff. 1 in each round, including the national championship game. That crew will open up their playoff run by calling Tennessee, Ohio State in the first round. The obvious big money game of the weekend, the Saturday night game.
Sure.
Then that crew will not do another game until the next round. They'll do the Rose Bowl the next week. They'll get the winner of that game and Oregon in the quarterfinal. The number 2 team on ESPN, Sean McDonough, Greg McElroy, and Molly McGrath will do the first game, the Friday night game between Notre Dame and Indiana. Shout out to Notre Dame and Indiana for both making that playoff. Shout out to the state of Indiana. Shout out to ESPN and Disney for broadcasting a Notre Dame game, the first non-NBC Notre Dame home game since 1990.
That's right. We're going to hear that a lot between now and December 20th.
And then that crew will take on the winner of that. Their next game will be the winner of that game and Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. And then the TNT game, 2 of those in the first round. So we've already covered the 2. And then the other 2, Mark Jones. That's right, Mark Jones, Roddy Jones, Quint Kesnick on the call for SMU Penn State. Mark Jones is a playoff game, ladies and gentlemen. Mark Jones, who called all the Colorado games this year, except for the ones that Gus Johnson did.
He's in his chest like bronchitis.
Do you know why? Well, I don't know why, but it's interesting that crew, which is a crew that's way down the list usually in the pecking order, they got that game. Now, why did they get that game? Yes, number 1, it's because it's the worst. It'll be the least watched game of the weekend because it's in the 11 a.m. spot on Saturday. But there is a game that they're competing with. It's not a college football playoff game.
It's not.
It's an NFL game. The Texans and the Chiefs will be happening on NBC at that same time. And they're like, all right, we're probably going to lose to the NFL here. And then Clemson and Texas will be Pash, Dvoracek, and Taylor McGregor. A game that will also compete with the NFL, Steelers and Ravens on Fox. You have theories, Josh?
Well,
why are you smiling over there?
Well, no, that was my theory.
What are you giggling about?
Hey, look, we can't put Mark Jones on the 2 games that we're gonna have. We can't put him on the Texas game. Yeah, let's put him at SMU, Penn State, and have him get swallowed up in the conversation up against the NFL.
So then in the next round, they'll ditch Pash and Mark Jones and their 2 crews, and then they'll bring in the Joe Test crew.
You didn't say it right.
What?
The Joe Test crew!
Thank you. Interesting that they decided to go 6 crews deep on this. Like they could have had the Joe Test crew do one of the games, right? I don't know. That's sort of interesting to me. I don't know how much people care about playoffs and the broadcasters of the playoffs, but I find it interesting. I mean, this is the first run through for everybody. And ESPN doesn't seem to have any problem making Kirk Herbstreit fly 6,000 miles to do 2 games in one day. You know?
Oh God.
They're not working. They're going down the line a little bit on this. Maybe they just figured like, hey, people are watching this game. If you're watching this game, you're watching this game, and if you care about college football, you're watching it. You probably don't care who the broadcasters are. A dangerous assumption to make.
Where? Okay.
What?
So he's calling the Rose Bowl.
Who?
Kirk.
Yes. And he's doing Ohio State, Tennessee.
Yes. Wednesday the 1st. Where is he?
Oh, where's the Thursday night game?
Where's the Thursday night game that day?
Great
that
question.
Week?
Great question. I
on
don't
the
know.
2nd.
No, they're probably done with Thursday night games by that point.
Yeah, they are.
They're probably over.
Stupid me.
So he's had weekends where he's been like you have the week, then you go to the Thursday night game in whatever NFL city, and then you fly immediately to wherever you're going to be on game day for Saturday. You spend the entire day there. Or he's had weeks where he does the Thursday night game, and then he flies back home to watch his son play football, who's now committed to Michigan, hilariously.
Hilarious.
And then you go to the game day location, and then the Saturday night game, the broadcast with Fowler, is in an entirely different city across the country. That PJ has got more mileage than Taylor Swift's.
That's a Mark Jones line.
Really?
I don't know.
It kind of sounded like
Sounds like one.
That PJ is cooking, though. It'll be interesting to see how this goes from a viewership standpoint. Especially the games up against the NFL, games on campus. I've seen a lot of complaints already from existing fans, especially in like Happy Valley, who are like, hey, look, the playoff is taking this thing over. Like they're kicking our students out. They have to sell more seats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
But here's the deal. Like as much as people like college football fans want more games to be on campus, they think that the semifinals they think that the next round, the semifinals should be on campus. It's actually more likely that the opposite happens and more neutral sites are going to get involved. First of all, I think we're probably going to expand to 16 sooner rather than later. And
seems likely a lot of people very mad at the buys.
And it feels like those games, I don't know if they'll be on campus or if they'll be in other, they'll be in the classic Atlanta, Phoenix, Dallas, Houston, Tampa, Miami, Pasadena. We'll just do that. It's stupid. So dumb.
Seems logistically easier than everyone trying to get to Happy Valley.
Yep. Kenneth writes in.
Hi, Kenneth.
Says, I have to sell a kidney to go to the Notre Dame game next week. So if anybody is looking for a kidney, please DM me.
Oh. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people would love
a kidney.
Yeah.
I'm not in need at the moment.
Okay.
I'll let you know. Nothing nothing up as of yet.
As of yet.
As of yet. All right, we're back. We'll have the polls. We'll tell you what to watch. Next on 1620 The Zone. All right, to the polls at Happer Show on the J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Is Minneapolis overrated? My answer is no, but I already know. Like, I'm going to guess more than 75% say yes to this. That's my guess.
I am also going to say no.
Oh, good. Only 63% say yes.
Okay.
Still the majority, but 60-40, I could live with that.
Sure.
Do a lot of people do a good Scott Stapp?
Yeah, I think you were right about that.
It's not that hard.
No.
62% say yes. So more people think people do a good Scott Stapp. Less people think more people do. Okay, never mind. Would you wreck your car to Feliz Navidad?
I knew what you were saying.
Yeah, I know.
I'm guessing the audience.
I had to pull the plug. Would you wreck your car to Feliz Navidad?
No, thank you.
I wouldn't wreck my car at all. Not that I'm incapable of getting in a wreck. I didn't say that. Although I am incapable of losing my wallet.
It's never happened.
Would you wreck your car to Feliz Navidad? 67% say no. And finally, is Silent Night an absolute banger? I would not describe it that way.
I wouldn't either, but on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, with like the church being dark and everybody's got their little candle.
Okay, that's a vibe.
That's a vibe.
That's a vibe.
I don't know if it makes it a banger, but
if you said, is Silent Night a vibe, I'd say yes to that.
Yeah.
Silent Night, not a banger. No. 57% say yes. Silent Night is an absolute banger.
Did we disagree with the audience on all of the polls today?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
I did. Wow. Okay. Those are the polls, Josh. What are we watching tonight?
We are watching college basketball. Number 1 Tennessee.
Not number 1 Kansas.
That's right. Hosts the crappy ACC team Miami at 5:30 on ESPN. Big Ten rock fight on Peacock.
Hello.
Penn State Rutgers, 6 o'clock.
Hey, Rutgers is good.
Yeah, well, they got all those 5 stars now. Yeah, that's right. Okay, that may be old assessment by me.
Watch out. Steve Peichel.
Number 14, Michigan at Arkansas, 8 o'clock on ESPN. Number 20, Wisconsin at Illinois, 8 o'clock on Peacock. The Juju Show is on BTN tonight at 8 o'clock as number 5, USC hosts Fresno State. NBA Cup quarterfinal action begins tonight in the NBA as we move towards a slow death march that is the NBA Cup. Magic Bucks at 6, followed by Mavericks Thunder at 8:30, both games on TNT. Hockey doubleheader on Hulu. Maple Leafs are in New Jersey to take on the Devils.
Watch out for them Devils.
6 o'clock, followed by the Minnesota Wild at the Hockey Club. 8:30, that's in Utah. Netflix new comedy special, Jamie Foxx. What had happened was... After recovering from health complications, Jamie Foxx returns to the stage to set the record straight about what happened.
Yeah, all right. So I would like to know because I don't know what happened. I remember him like kind of getting canceled though.
He does not remember a 3-week stretch from a couple years ago.
He was in a fugue state like Walter White?
Yeah.
Interesting. He was lying about that for the record.
I'm actually pretty intrigued about this special. And finally, 7 o'clock tonight on NBC, the season 26 finale of The Voice. Dan and Shay, Kelly Clarkson, Miles Smith, Riley Green, Ella Langley, Tears for Fears. Season 24 winner Huntley, no last name given, and season 25 winner Asher Havon perform.
Just Huntley, huh?
Yeah. The top 8 reunite for a Wicked-themed performance before a new champ is crowned. Connor, I ask you this every year. Who's your favorite winner of The Voice?
Huntley, gotta be.
Huntley goes hard in the paint.
So have we done this before where we looked up who has won that? Like, have we ever produced anything out of that show?
Not a single person.
Really? Because we used to produce great ones out of American Idol.
We did.
And now The Voice is basically the new American Idol, even though American Idol is still running, sadly.
Sadly. Very sadly.
The Voice has been on for 26 years, 26 seasons, and has produced nothing.
Nothing.
Great.
Anthem singers all across this great nation of ours.
Yeah, that's true. There was a lady from Nebraska on there. She was good.
She's a professional anthem singer now.
There you go. All right, Josh, thanks.
Thank you, Connor.
That's what we're watching tonight. That's the show. If you missed anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. The crossover is next.